In the idyllic setting of Chapel Hill, North Carolina, Butch Davis's football team focused through allegations and investigations. But the Tar Heels are dug in for an ACC fight. Today, for the first time in 8 years, the Clemson Tigers come to Kenan Stadium. Blue skies, Carolina Blue fans ready for North Carolina and the Clemson Tigers for the first time at Kenan Stadium since 2002 in an ACC matchup. Welcome to Chapel Hill, North Carolina, one of America's great college towns. I'm Carter Blackburn with the winningest coach in Oregon football history, Mike Bellotti, and former All-Pac-10 quarterback, Brock Huard. Well, for North Carolina football, it has been a season of investigations and allegations. We will get to that later. For now, let's talk about who's been making an impact on the field in 2010 for the Tar Heels.
And for Butch Davis and his program, they are very fortunate to have senior quarterback T.J. Yates. He's not spectacular. He's not the best playmaker in college football, but he is making his 36th career start. He's a stabilizer for their offense, and he's playing the best football of his career. The number 2 rated passer in the ACC with 7 touchdowns, just 1 interception.
For both North Carolina and Clemson, a lot of speed, a lot of athleticism, and Mike, that's on display in the Clemson backfield.
No question. Dabo Swinney is excited about the new receivers, but more importantly, the new storm. Andre Ellington, Jamie Parker, the thunder and lightning of that backfield. Ellington's on his way to gain 1,000 yards and the fewest carries in history, whereas Harper is their Wildcat quarterback and also has got 3 touchdowns out of the backfield.
And remember, that history includes C.J. Spiller, a pretty good back at Clemson.
The Tigers up from Clemson, South Carolina to Chapel Hill, North Carolina. These schools share a border. They share a rivalry that goes back to 1897. They also share 0-1 marks in the ACC, an important one between the Tigers and Tar Heels.
BCS National Championship game. ESPN, the BCS lives here.
The headlines around North Carolina football this year have tainted the perception of the program. That's the word that head coach Butch Davis uses to describe the effect of 3 different investigations. The university is looking into possible academic violations. North Carolina Secretary of State investigating possible improprieties with agents. The NCAA is looking into both. There have been no final judgments in any of those investigations, but the practical effect is there have been 14 players all year withheld or suspended. There are 6 starters today out for the University of North Carolina.
And 8 of those are defensive football players, and 10 of the 11 suspended 8 would have been on special teams. So it's hurt them both on defensive depth and also in their special teams play.
Going back a decade when I was a college kid in the locker room, if we had 1 distraction, maybe 2 guys get in trouble, it was a mess. It was dysfunctional. To have a dozen or more guys, the influx in and out, who's starting, who's getting the reps, what an incredible challenge Butch Davis has faced this season.
Well, the word before the season opener for Butch Davis and his team against LSU was, this is the team we have. Let's go play football with the team we have. As he told us yesterday, the cavalry has taken a detour. North Carolina kicks off. Clemson will get the football first in a bobble on the opening kickoff by Marcus Gilchrist, so he'll have to take a knee in the end zone. Clemson gets it at the 20-yard line. Both teams 2-2 on the year, 0-1 in ACC competition. Tiger football first, so we see the sophomore quarterback, Kyle Parker.
Kyle Parker is a winner. He's one of the toughest guys on the field. He got roughed up against Auburn, made some mistakes last week against Miami, but I'll tell you what, he has got 26 touchdowns in his first 18 games.
Just 14 of 33 a week ago, and his offensive coordinator, Billy Napier, said he missed more throws than he ever does. He has got to be on target today with some very young receivers surrounding him.
And as Mike told us, there will be a tailback rotation for Clemson. Andre Ellington and Jamie Harper. It's Ellington behind Kyle Harper for first down. Sophomore back averaging over 7 yards a carry during his year-and-a-half Clemson career. Ellington gets 5 on first down against the North Carolina defense, who's giving up 171 rushing yards a game. Already a penalty flag down.
Late flag, and you hate to see that. Those penalties after the whistle are probably what bother a coach more than anything.
Yeah, look at Dabo Swinney. Get in the game. Take that big guy out. We cannot afford to have a personal foul, and that's left tackle Chris Harrison, a 3-year starter, one of the real leaders of this team. And you could see Dabo Swinney giving him the business as far as taking care of those mental errors, which was such a problem a week ago.
You know, you want to start off with a very physical attitude in a football game, but you've got to contain it from snap to whistle.
So that means now the redshirt freshman left tackle Brandon Thomas anchors the left side for the Clemson Tigers. Ellington gets it on second down. Take a look at the impact players when Clemson has the football.
Well, no surprise. Andre Ellington, the lightning in the new storm. He's averaging 7 yards a carry. He's the most explosive player on the field.
And Quentin Coples on that North Carolina defensive line, their second leading tackler. He will play both end and tackle. Truly a playmaker from the defense line. And Bruce Carter, one of the special athletes in all of college football. 7 block kicks in his career. That tells you a little bit about his explosive capabilities.
An early 3rd and long. This is 3rd and 14. Somehow Ellington slips out, but then slips on the turf behind the original line of scrimmage. It's a 3 and out for the Tigers.
The noise level in here is palpable right now. I'll tell you what, I lost him in the crowd. I thought he was down, and all of a sudden he was off to the races. And he has that ability to slip blocks, to make people miss, to hide in the pile.
Dabo Swinney said they self-destructed over the last couple weeks. That dead ball personal foul after first down destroyed that drive.
Big discrepancy in the punting game today. Dawson Zimmerman will punt. He's 7th in the nation, while North Carolina trying to find an effective punter. Norris Searcy back to return. At the 46, return of about 5 yards for Searcy. So we see the North Carolina offense now led by the senior from Marietta, Georgia's Pope High School, T.J. Yates.
Well, he is slowly climbing the ladder on all of the career passing charts. He's even doing better this year, completing 68% of his passes through 46 straight attempts without an interception against LSU, a school record.
He's going to throw his 1,000th pass of his collegiate career, and John Shoup said, his offensive coordinator, a lot of what he does goes unnoticed. His leadership behind the scenes, as we talked about in the open, he has really settled this program down amidst a very turbulent time.
Johnny White, the starting tailback for Carolina. It's White on first down for a positive gain of about 7. Let's look at the impact players when North Carolina has a football.
Yates' #1 target, the leading receiver, is their tight end, Zach Pianalto. He's very good in zone. They're going to ask him today to beat man on man.
On the other side of the ball, Daquan Bowers, 3rd leading tackler on the team, already one of the top 5 NFL defensive prospects, a defensive end, 4 sacks. Also, DeAndre McDaniel, the most physical player on the team, tied for the lead in team tackles. On
second down, Yates back to pass. Quick drop. Pass is complete to the H-back, Ryan Taylor, for an 8-yard gain.
You talked about Bowers and his success rushing the passer. Clemson is a defense, 11th in the country with 12 sacks. Offensive coordinator John Shoup very specific with us yesterday, saying we are not going to allow them to get started. You're going to see quick passes, screens, movement, slow down that rush early.
The latest North Carolina ineligible player, the starting fullback, Devin Ramsey. 2 hours prior to game time, the official release from North Carolina saying he would be withheld today. Quick hitter complete to the outside.
The big matchup that North Carolina was concerned about was their offensive line against a very talented defensive line from Clemson. As you said, Brock, they are getting rid of the ball very quickly. They're not putting any stress on the offensive line yet.
In back-to-back throws, you see the ball out of T.J. Yates' hand. Part of the advantage of having a fifth-year senior that's seen so much football in his career, and a good shot of John Shoup there. Really trusts. You got the sense yesterday in talking to him how much trust he has in his senior quarterback.
5-yard pickup from Highsmith on first down. White hit the line, no gain on second down. Carico Hawkins leads the way.
That's a good sign for Clemson defensively. You've looked at the stats as I did, Coach. Pretty remarkable where their linebackers rank near the bottom and their leading tacklers. All of their secondary guys make their plays. Nice to see Hawkins get involved early.
No question. And T.J. Yates, one other thing that he talked about in terms as a quarterback, he's got the bumps on his back. He's got great peripheral vision. He doesn't get caught in the pocket.
3rd and 5. Long drop. Yates over the middle, complete to Highsmith. Near a first down, but the spot will show Highsmith is short. Bringing up 4th down. Will we see Casey Barth on for a field goal?
Well, it looks like they're putting in a substitution group for short yardage, so I think they're going to go for it. They've got the crowd behind them. I think North Carolina wants to make a statement early in this game.
This is 4th and 2 on the opening drive for North Carolina. Curtis Bird, the walk-on fullback, without Ramsey today. Quick hitter complete. First down, North Carolina. Jeremy Boyd makes the grab.
Case in point about trusting your quarterback. And a guy, as you said, Mike, that's been through the wars here. On 4th down, you're going to create and get into that one-on-one matchup outside. And with that kind of cushion, just needing 2 yards, pretty simple pitch and catch.
Jeremy Boyd, known as a burner, but say he's improving his routes. Quick slant there for the first down, converting on 4th.
Lots of motions and shifts, a staple of Shoup's offense.
Another quick hitter. This one is tipped and incomplete.
What they're trying to do, they said they really wanted to affect the safeties to a great degree and take them out of their normal fits by changing strength. Again, trying to make them have to recall coverages in the secondary.
There you see the big fella, another very talented player, Jarvis Jenkins, the senior in the middle. Another one of those guys more than likely will be a first-day draft pick at 6'4", 315. He feels that quick game, and as a D lineman, what do? Get your hands up, deflect the pass.
Screen. Elzy dancing inside the 20 as the Tigers rally to the football.
I tell you what, that is great response from the defense. Screens are typically stopped before they get started. You get that thing down the field, you have no chance. Stop it before it gets started.
That's the 310-pound nose guard, Brandon Thompson, who snuffs out the screen.
It's remarkable how many years, when you think of Clemson football and SEC football and even North Carolina football, how many of those guys that continually produce those 300-pounders that can be very, very active?
North Carolina excellent in the red zone. They're inside the Clemson 20 now, 3rd and 7. Yates completes to White out of the backfield. A wide open Johnny White drilled inside the 10. Marked down near the 8. Xavier Brewer makes the touchdown-saving tackle after a gain of 10.
That's flanker drive, and that running back is his 4th option, and that senior quarterback feels the big fella Jarvis Jenkins right down his neck. You see the action away, the crossing routes away. That is his 4th option that he gets to quickly.
But they love Johnny White. He's played wide receiver and cornerback here at North Carolina, and they love him because of all the things he brings to the tailback position.
I can't tell you how good that is for a quarterback to move through his progressions that quickly.
White on 1st and goal. Drilled as he crosses the 5. DeAndre McDaniel comes up from his strong safety position to meet Johnny White.
And we talked about DeAndre being one of the most physical players on the football field. That is a hit. That's a rock him all the way down to the bottom of your feet.
That's a converted linebacker that's athletic enough to play safety, delivering the blow.
Empty backfield for Yates in the heels on 2nd and goal. Yates keeps it for maybe a yard, bringing up 3rd and goal. Malachi Goodman from defensive end on the stop.
You're going to see lots of different linemen rotate through for Clemson. That's a backup defensive end. They will play all 8 defensive linemen to keep it fresh. And yet again, that perfect prototypical body at 6'4" and 265.
But also the fact that he got cut to the ground but got up to still make the play. That's what you want to see from your defensive lineman. It's not one thing to get knocked down. You got to get up.
3rd and goal on the opening drive for North Carolina. White. Touchdown, North Carolina.
Great patience by Johnny White. Bounces in, ducks outside, and he gets his shoulder pads north and south to split the defenders.
A 12-play drive for North Carolina, opening possession. They convert on 4th and 2, and the senior from Asheville makes it 7-0 Heels.
College football in high definition is presented by Vizio.
Well, the numbers tell you through the first 4 games of 2010, it's been Clemson off to hot starts, and then North Carolina closing well. But opening possession, Tigers go 3 and out. Tar Heels go on a 12-play touchdown drive.
I was at practice watching North Carolina on Thursday. I was very, very impressed with their efficiency, the attitude, and the way they ran practice. I thought, wow, I think they're ready.
TJ Yates, 6 of 7 on that opening drive for North Carolina. Marcus Gilchrist drilled as he crosses the 20-yard line. Nice special teams tackle by Anthony Elzey. A focus for North Carolina and a focused Tar Heel bunch off to a 7-0 start on the Tigers.
ESPN's College Football on ABC, brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings. You have to be here. AT&T, rethink possible. And Nissan, proud partner of the Heisman Trophy.
They just don't name players like they used to. Charlie Choo Choo Justice, All-American 48 and 49, finished 2nd in the Heisman Trophy voting both years. Named after the Benny Goodman song, All the Way Choo Choo. Clemson football, Tigers win 3 and out first time. It's Jamie Harper in at tailback. It's Kyle Parker, the quarterback, throwing on first down, complete to Jerron Brown, the sophomore from Chero, South Carolina.
And for Clemson, 61, Chris Hairston. Remember Dabo, very adamant, pulling him out of the game the first drive after the personal foul penalty. Now the 5th-year senior's back in there at left tackle.
Yeah, he's the rock. He's their best offensive lineman. They're not going to play with him out of the game very long.
Harper's first carry of the day. Goes for a Clemson first down. The junior from Jacksonville, Florida, who rotates with the sophomore Andre Ellington.
How advantageous from a coordinator situation to have really the diversity of skill sets as Clemson does at running back?
Well, it's good if they can do the same things and or complement each other, which I think these two running backs do.
First down from the 33. Parker finds Harper in the screen game out of the backfield, but no gain for the Tigers on first down. Let's look back at that North Carolina touchdown run.
And take a look at your left guard, Jonathan Cooper, number 64. They call this power O, and that O is for the offside guard pulling around. And watch the job that he does on weak side linebacker Brandon May, driving him 4 yards deep into that end zone.
Lots of similarities scheme-wise between the North Carolina Tar Heels and the Clemson Tigers. We'll see it throughout the day. Call it 2nd and 9 here. Parker, wide receiver screen. It's DeAndre Hopkins, the talented true freshman who came into the year as a backup quarterback, but he was so impressive in practices, and some of the veteran Clemson wide receivers were so disappointing. Now Dabo Swinney, offensive coordinator Billy Napier, saying, we're going to get the young guys involved in the offense.
I think it's a combination of they showed up so well and they were frustrated with the lack of performance by the starting wideouts. But DeAndre Hopkins and Bryce McNeil, two freshmen starting wide receivers today in a pivotal game for Clemson.
And backup right tackle Philip Price comes into the game. We got a heavy overload to the short side of the field.
Toss to Ellington. On the strong side, Ellington has a first down with Chris Hairston, the left tackle, leading the way.
You know, they're very comfortable, too, pounding the ball until he breaks one. That's why they call him the lightning component of the new Storm, because he touches the ball, and again, he's averaging 7 yards a carry this year.
One thing I really appreciate about both of these teams, and Carter, you alluded to it, some of the familiarity, is the number of personnel groups, formation, shifts, different looks that both offenses will throw at their defense.
Ellington in a tailback on first down. Andre Ellington to near the 50 as we send it to Robert Flores.
Thanks. I'll be here all afternoon getting you caught up on what's going on across the country, starting with this Taco Bell studio update. South Carolina has never beaten a #1 ranked team, but the Gamecocks leading one right now. Stephen Garcia to Marcus Lattimore. Gamecocks up on the #1 Tide, 7-3.
Well, here in Chapel Hill, the Clemson Tigers, who will meet those South Carolina Gamecocks at the end of the regular season. Second down. Complete near a first down to Dwayne Allen, the sophomore tight end, the Tigers' leading receiver.
One of the things that you see with a lot of movement and shifting by an offense is you want to take away the defense's aggression. It makes them have to think, recommunicate, and sometimes they miscommunicate on a new signal.
That's exactly what Everett Withers, defensive coordinator from Carolina, told us. With all the looks they give us, it slows down our blitzing.
On third down, Parker leans for a first down. Everett Withers, the defensive coordinator for North Carolina, saying this aggression will not stand.
Well, the other thing, too, is they talk all the time about getting their eyes right and making sure that the right gap fits. So people are just in the gap that they're responsible for, and they don't get beat by play action or by deception-type plays.
Gap integrity, a big key for North Carolina today. Harper on first down. No gain. Gap integrity on display. Welcome back, Deontay Williams. First game back, suspended for the first 4 for the senior from Jacksonville, Florida.
Making his 39 starts. Exactly what you want to do to a big back. Don't let him get started. 230 pounds is Jamie Harper. Attack him before he's coming at you. Well done, Deontay Williams.
Parker audibles on 2nd and 11. On the 10th play of this drive already. In the flat for Bryce McNeil, redshirt freshman, another young receiver getting into the rotation for the Tigers.
And again, once the ball getting out early, when you're in a double set, you want to see if the defense will stay balanced or they overcommit to field. And again, you want to get a look. That's why they didn't probably use any shifting in motion on that play.
Then on the field before the game, watching Kyle Parker throw, he gets the ball out of his hands very quickly. He should. He knows how to play baseball pretty well. A first-round pick for the Rockies this year. But just from a quarterback fundamental standpoint, really stood out how quickly he can get that ball out.
Parker to throw on third down. The pump, the toss, incomplete. Through the hands of Jamie Harper, split as a wide receiver.
And that's Zach Brown, number 47, filling in today for Juan Sturdivant, who is out with an injury, not a suspension. And Zach Brown is a phenomenal athlete. Unbelievable when you dig into his background. You're not going to outrun him on a wheel route. This is one of the fastest UNC players, 4.28 in the 40. In fact, the North Carolina 60-meter school record holder at 225 pounds.
North Carolina will keep their defense on the field here to make sure that Clemson doesn't try any type of a fake.
Zimmerman kicks it away. Searcy will let it bounce. Inside the 5, but it bounces into the end zone for a touchback. North Carolina 7-0 start on the Tigers. An ACC matchup today in Chapel Hill, one tonight between Florida State and Miami. Some on the West Coast will see USC versus Stanford. Saturday Night Football presented by Southwest Airlines on ABC 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific tonight. First time both of these teams ranked in 4 years.
This game has relevance and two very exciting quarterbacks to watch.
And Ja'Cory Harris may be too exciting for some of the Miami fans sometimes. White completes to Curtis Bird. The walk-on senior has his second touch of the year, playing in place of Devin Ramsey, withheld today, making it 14 North Carolina football players who have been suspended or withheld.
Coach talked about Curtis Bird. I got to say, share this with everybody. He said an airbag exploded in his back pocket. He just got big in the offseason. He worked really hard.
The airbag exploding in the...
I did that. It's one of the greatest lines I've ever heard.
Picks up 8 to make it 2nd and 2. Inside give White. Now he's going to cut it back near another Carolina first down.
I'll tell you, I like that graphic that we just flashed. 6 different receivers today have caught a pass for North Carolina, and you continue to see the patience. If one thing has jumped out here in this first quarter, Johnny White, a guy that's played corner, wide receiver, running back in his 5 years, he has a nice feel to allow the play to happen in front of him and then hit the hole.
And as you said, T.J. Yates is like a point guard in basketball. He's distributing the ball to the playmakers.
They know something about that around here too, Mike.
Yeah.
Two teams who come in 2-2 in the ACC, 2-2 on the year, 0-1 in the ACC. It's Carolina. Can't you just see the sunshine? Like a friend of mine, Carolina. With everything swirling around the North Carolina football program, how much enjoyment do you think it is for these players, for Butch Davis and coaching staff, just to get out there on the gridiron?
I guarantee you, for the coaches and the players, this is their sanctuary.
Long drop for T.J. Yates. First long shot of the day is over the head of Jeremy Boyd.
You know, and that's exactly what the Clemson coaches were afraid of. They gave up big plays. Their eyes weren't right last game, and they talked about that being a huge focus today. And also that UNC was going to throw the ball down the field for the big play 6 or 7 times a game.
When 3 of your 4 leading tacklers are your 2 safeties in a corner, you know where their eyes often are. Very aggressive guys that get caught. And Jeremy Boyd, the fastest North Carolina Tar Heel, got behind Clemson. Maybe the first miss for T.J. Yates today.
White motions out on 2nd and 10. Quick drop. Yates over the middle. Now he's pressured and sacked by Daquan Bowers. 5th sack of the season for the junior from Bamberg, South Carolina.
And that was just an arm swipe. He just sort of flicked it and knocked him down. Watch this. Gets up off of the block, just reaches out and flips the leg down. And again, TJ did a great job. He went through about 4 different reads on that, and it was great coverage down the field.
Arm swipe and effort. You get cut down. You made the point earlier of the defensive lineman getting cut on the play and having the effort to get up on your feet and create, as you said, Carter, now his 5th sack, 3rd in America.
Forcing 3rd and 20. Yates to the sticks, close to a first down. It's caught by Highsmith, but question of where he was knocked out of bounds.
You know, and you always hope your receiver runs the route long enough to get the first down. You don't want to come up short in this situation.
That's exactly where he is. Xavier Brewer forces Highsmith out, a yard shy.
And the hometown faithful don't like the pun here, but this is 100% the right call. The way your defense has played the first 2 series, this is not where you get greedy and give Clemson any form of field position. Punt the football. Good call, Butch Davis.
Big problem for North Carolina, the punting game. Team average just 30 yards per punt. So C.J. Fiegels, the redshirt freshman, tries to hang it up. Gilchrist drilled as he grabs it at the 25-yard line. Zach Brown with a special teams tackle. Who's got a problem in the punting game? Fiegels hangs it up. Brown drills Gilchrist.
At the heart of UNC's campus stands the Old Well. For many years, it served as the only water source on campus. But today, there's a myth that surrounds the Old Well. They say that if you drink from its fountain on the first day of class, you'll get a 4.0 for the semester. Welcome to my university.
I think Aaron drank from the Old Well. That was a stellar welcome to my university. So well done, Aaron. We grade you out with an A+. Well on your way to a 4.0 with that performance today.
I'll tell you what was stellar was that kick coverage. Zach Brown, it doesn't matter what the hang time is. When you run 4.28 or whatever, you get down and you lay a lick, you make a statement about what you want to do.
6 tackles already for the weak side linebacker filling in for Sturdivant.
Jamie Harper back at tailback for the Clemson Tigers. Harper for a gain of about 7. Our Pacific Life game summary. These were the numbers at the end of the first quarter. What stands out to you?
Well, I can tell you, it's just a couple more plays, but significantly more yards and a little bit more possession time. Other than that, it's just been a pretty hard-fought battle.
This is the first time all year that North Carolina has led at the end of the first quarter. 7-0. Now nearing 2 minutes into the second quarter. Call this 2nd and 4. Parker, time to throw over the middle to the tight end Allen for a Tiger first down.
This is a good Clemson offensive line. That's what Dabo Swinney told us. He's liked the way they have played. And when you have a tight end that can be your leading receiver, as Dwayne Allen is, what a luxury for a quarterback. He's going to just come down the field at 6'4", 255, settle down. He doesn't run to get covered. He feels his own coverage and gives his quarterback a nice target to throw.
Allen motions into the backfield on first down. Throw it to him again, and what a grab by Dwayne Allen. Takes the big paw to haul it in one-handed. Zach Brown there for his 7th stop.
And as a quarterback, I can't say it enough. On the other side, Pionalto, our impact player, the leading receiver, that kind of target, every other receiver, that ball is sailing over his head. But there you see the advantage of a 6'4" target to throw to.
And they talk about how much of a matchup problem he is because he can set in the zone or he can beat you man-to-man because he's big enough and agile enough to get open.
Ellington back at tailback, 2nd and 5. Andre Ellington across midfield. This is 3rd down coming up. Mike and Brock, as Clemson crosses midfield, this is a 3rd down and short coming up, but how different does that play calling to come for Billy Napier and Dabo Swinney once you cross the 50?
Well, defense coordinator Everett Withers for North Carolina felt like once they crossed the 50, then the whole kitchen sink was coming your way. A multitude of reverses and formations and shifts. I didn't like the last third down call, the wheel route to the running back. 3rd and 1, with this offensive line, I'd run right at North Carolina.
Play fake. Parker throws complete for a Tiger first down. So play action this time. Hopkins makes the catch, his second.
And they had Allen deep for a bigger score or touchdown, but took the sure thing to get the first down.
We've seen 2 situations now, the tight end, and that's a true freshman, DeAndre Hopkins. When you get into zone, don't panic. Find that safe, soft spot and give your numbers to the quarterback. It's a nice job for the true freshman in Central South Carolina.
Play fake again on first down. Here's the deep shot. Parker hangs onto it, goes to a check down for a positive gain. Ellington makes the grab, but there was a man open downfield.
They had a couple. They were running multiple deep crossing routes, and again, quarterback just didn't feel the safety. Did a nice job of running to the end point of the route to discourage the quarterback from putting the ball down the field.
And this is a safety that I would not attack. Deontay Williams, 27, 3rd all-time in the history of North Carolina with 12 career interceptions. That's got to be wide open, Carter. It may appear from up here. You see a guy flashing deep down the field. But Deontay Williams, a savvy, veteran-free safety, he better be well in the clear if you're going to take that shot.
The pass incomplete on first down. Kevin Reddick knocked it away. Parker keeps it on the boot on 2nd down. But the Tar Heels waiting for him there. It's Tim Jackson, the true freshman defensive end, stringing it out.
You know, those young guys are very, very athletic. They shouldn't even be seeing the field yet. They are true freshmen, but the reality is you're seeing them grow game by game, and they have the athleticism to play right now. It's just sometimes they're surprised by what happens on the field.
And in particular, Jackson and Martin, 2 true freshmen that will rotate in at that end spot where you're missing Robert Quinn, number 2 on Mel Kiper's big board, is one of the most talented players in all of college football.
Parker to throw on 3rd down. Everyone covered. Parker flushed out of the pocket. Incomplete. Intended for Hopkins. Tigers have to punt it away.
That's just really good coverage.
That's a great job of coverage down the field. The quarterback bought time, set in the pocket, sprinted out to his right, which is his on-hand side, which he's comfortable with. And again, as you watch this, you can see the coverage develop down the field. You can see they pass it on. It's a zone situation. Then the one guy that might come open is that wheel route on the far side.
Man-on-man situation. Quarter, half is that zone coverage. They only rush 4. When you can drop 7 against 5 receivers, advantage Carolina.
Zimmerman hangs it high. Searcy lets it bounce inside the 10. And the Tigers this time pin the Heels back at the 1. Carolina has a touchdown, but the Tigers have the field position momentum.
ESPN's College Football on ABC. Brought to you by Nissan, proud partner of the Heisman Trophy. Ally, do you love your bank? Learn more at allybank.com. And Verizon Wireless, introducing the Droid X, the next generation of duds.
Not many prettier campuses in the United States than the University of North Carolina here in Chapel Hill, the Old Well. Kenan Stadium right in the middle of campus, so you literally walk past the Old Well as you walk through campus and walk right into Kenan Stadium. Tar Heel football team with its heels on the goal line. Sean Drone in a tailback for the first time today, and it's Drone picking his way across the goal line to the 5.
The goal, we've talked about this before, the goal of the offense in this situation is to at least get 1 first down so your punter does not have to punt from the end zone. Conversely, the defense is saying, we got to stop him right here so we can come after that punt when we face that 4th down situation.
And one goal for any offense is to be balanced. And Clemson wanted to make North Carolina one-dimensional today. 8 rushes, 10 passes already for the Tar Heels. Good offensive structure.
On 2nd and 6. Drone again, this time outside, this time met for a loss. DeAndre McDaniel comes flying in from his strong safety spot. Millions of people watch the family go from ordinary to extraordinary. The adventure is just beginning. Michael Chiklis stars in the super-powered series, ABC's No Ordinary Family, all new Tuesday, 8/7 Central on ABC.
That DeAndre McDaniel is exactly what the NFL is looking for in a strong safety that is long but can come down around the line of scrimmage and tackle one-on-one. No wonder he leads this team in tackles.
Forcing 3rd and 8. Yates on the slant, tipped, incomplete, intended for Dwight Jones. Carolina goes 3 and out. Tigers should get excellent field position.
I'll tell you what, that was great coverage. It's tough to stop a slant down there. It's a safe pass, and again, you get rid of it quickly, but the corner did an unbelievable job of defeating that pass.
And remember last time, weak side linebacker Zach Brown nailed Marcus Gilchrist. Gilchrist 9th in America, averaging 17 yards a return.
Beagles from the back of the end zone. Gilchrist from the 40. The speedster Marcus Gilchrist keeps his feet, but dropped at the 40. Here comes a flag. 39-yard punt this time from Feagles.
If that name is familiar to folks that have followed football, his dad is Jeff Feagles, just retired after 22 years in the NFL. CJ, a redshirt freshman, has won this punting job.
Either way, this is going to be great starting field position, even if the penalty goes against Clemson, which it looks like it is.
On the return team, 10 yards, first down.
Well, the Tigers still get the football in Carolina territory. Can Clemson capitalize and put points on the board?
You're watching ESPN College Football on ABC, presented by Buffalo Wild Wings.
A lot of folks outside the state of North Carolina would be surprised at the long list of excellent football players. Yeah, it's a basketball school, but I mean, right up until the present day, guys like Hakeem Nicks in recent years. Dre Bly was one of the best defensive backs ever. Julius Peppers, one of the best defensive linemen ever in the college game.
Who would you take, Julius Peppers or Lawrence Taylor?
Lawrence Taylor changed the game. I think I still take it.
Can we have them both? Can we have them both? One on each side. How's that?
Brock, you would take him on your Tecmo Bowl team too, I know, Lawrence Taylor. Fake the toss. Parker turns, looking downfield. Nobody there, so he scrambles for a gain of a few as we check in with Robert.
Well, Carter, this New York Life studio update has the #1 team in the nation getting rocked right now. Steven Garcia, 8 for 8, 3 touchdowns, 2 of them to Alshon Jeffrey. South Carolina is leading #1 Alabama 21-3 early second quarter.
In Columbia, they would say touchdown Carolina. They would say the same thing here in Chapel Hill.
And what a brutal run Alabama's had. South Carolina with that bye week coming off a tough loss. You knew they'd be amped up to play.
Ellington running hard on second down. Flags come out.
And I believe every one of Alabama's opponents for the next 5 or 6 weeks has a bye prior to playing.
How does that happen?
Great scheduling. Not very good scheduling if you're Alabama.
There's an injured Tiger on the field.
We've seen Kyle Parker today be pretty conservative with the ball. He's not taking some shots down the field. I wonder if some way that's coming off of a 3-interception game a week ago against Miami. Been very clear to him, listen, don't force the issue today at Carolina. We don't need any turnovers, because he's playing more conservative than I have seen him in the past.
You're right. I wonder if that was a coach's edict or that is his own self-imposed thing about, I don't want to turn the ball over.
It's Antoine McLean, the right guard for Clemson, who's down.
Replay second down.
You know, typically that's what happens to offensive and defensive. They're hurt more by people falling on their legs in the commission of a play.
And that is their road grader on the holding call. Antoine, 6'5", 330, and good to see the big fella from Anniston, Alabama, walk off on his own.
So we've already seen Chris Hairston, the left tackle, come out after he committed the penalty on the first play from scrimmage. Back in at left tackle. Now McLean is out.
And they're without David Smith, one of their better offensive linemen with a high ankle sprain. A bit of a hodgepodge crew up front for Dabo.
Matt Sanders takes over at right guard for the Tigers. 2nd and 15. Parker over the middle, incomplete. Kevin Reddick knocks it away. Aflac! Our Aflac trivia question. Clemson head coach, all-time leader in winning percentage. Not number of wins, but winning percentage.
I think that duck follows me everywhere.
I'll tell you one thing that's jumped out here from the booth, and I don't know if you've noticed this as well, Coach, but North Carolina in their zone defense reacts very quickly.
3rd and 15. Clemson's hurt themselves with 2 penalties, backing all the way to their own 40 for 3rd and 15. That's where Parker stands. And throws complete. Tigers convert. Jerron Brown, the sophomore, makes the grab. A 24-yard pickup, converting 3rd and 15.
Well, a lot of times, too, you can get lost in that zone. You talk about how quickly they react. Once you get past the first level, you want to sit down, not run to be covered, but settle in that dead area between the underneath and the deep coverage.
Despite 2 penalties by Clemson, the Tigers convert anyway. Remember, they forced North Carolina to punt out the back of their end zone. Play fake on 1st down. Parker rolling, throws it in the dirt. Outside the pocket, beyond the line of scrimmage, near Ellington, so no flag for grounding.
Brock, back to your point, they really do latch on very quickly. Once they get into the zone, they get out of it and attack receivers, they are with them, and especially when the quarterback moves the pocket, they stay aligned in that zone, running with the receiver through the zone.
And Everett Withers, the defensive coordinator, loves having those 2 safeties back. You just saw the shot of Deontay Williams, Denora Searcy as well. They elevate the play of the corners. Those corners are so much more comfortable when they've got the veterans back there lining up, knowing they've got their back behind them.
Tar Heels still without their starting cornerbacks, Charles Brown and Kevin Burney. Burney will be back in 2 weeks. Harper hit behind the line, may have gotten back to the original line of scrimmage.
And that was all Tydreek Powell there, number 91, the defensive tackle. Have you ever seen a defense that 2nd and 3rd leading tacklers are their defensive tackles?
No, and that is truly amazing. And again, those guys don't just occupy space, they make plays.
Clemson 4 for 7 on 3rd down today.
It's like a 3-man front from Carolina.
Parker pumps, throws it away, incomplete, way over the head of the intended receiver, Allen.
Discretion, the better part of valor. Throw the ball away, save the down and distance. Don't force the ball up. You know, last week, too many turnovers, and they felt like that cost them the game. They're being a little cautious here today.
Not seeing a pressure defensively for Carolina. They're content to rush 4, and even in that occasion, 3, play that zone coverage behind.
Catanzaro from 47, 2 for 3. That one miss was the costly one in the overtime loss to Auburn. This would equal his career high. He's just a redshirt freshman. Got it. Call it 48. New career long. Clemson finally on the board, but still trailing the Heels. Amidst the sea of North Carolina blue and Northwest purple and burnt orange, the red of the Washington State. I mean, explain that.
I don't know. I mean, you see the flag at game day, right? Every single college game day, no matter where they are, there's always a Cougar flag. And now infiltrating the ACC, Wazoo in the house.
Cougar.
I think they're following you, Brock. I'll just tell you.
Don't they play the Ducks tonight?
They should be there helping their team against the Ducks tonight. No
hounding former Washington quarterback Brock Huard. That's wherever you turn. The Cougs. This is Elzy on the return for North Carolina from the 10. dropped near the 21. All right, now when you think of obvious college football names, you oftentimes don't think about the man who actually is named after. John Heisman, an .833 winning percentage in the early part of the 20th century.
That's not our era, Carter. That's more you weren't around.
Don't even go there. Don't even go there.
That is our Aflac trivia answer.
That's a pretty good winning percentage, I'll tell you.
A drone back at tailback for the North Carolina Tar Heels. A 7-3 start. North Carolina led after 1 for the first time this season. Typically, it has been Clemson getting out the leads. They've lost the last 2 games in dramatic fashion. Yates pass batted down near the line of scrimmage. That's incomplete.
That's now the 3rd or 4th time we have seen Yates take a shot in this Clemson defense, rotating 8 guys through. Jenkins and Branch and Bowers and even the backups, Goodman, Javis, and Brown. This is a dominant crew rushing 4. Unlike Carolina, who's not getting home, there's been a number of body shots on Yates thus far.
And those take their toll over the course of a game with just your ability to follow through or to want to hang in there sometimes against the rush.
Long drop on 2nd down. Yates steps up in the pocket and misses. Drone incomplete.
I think he got so excited. He saw somebody in his peripheral vision, knew it wasn't his guys, but just overthrew that. There was a lot of green grass in front of the running back.
And that can happen as you step up in that pocket. So often as a quarterback, you're used to running or drilling that ball down the field, to have finesse and to take those RPMs off for those little check down backs. You would hope a 5th-year senior in that opportunity could make that play. Too much juice for Yates.
Forcing 3rd and 10. Tar Heels went 3 and out on the last possession. Yates to Pianalto, incomplete. Brandon May there in coverage.
And that's a great example of what John Shoup said about Pianalto. If he can get in and out of zone coverage, but tonight against Clemson, he's going to have press and one-on-one situations that he must create separation.
And you're absolutely right. They talked about the difference between all tight ends can catch the ball when they face a zone defense. You've got to be able to separate versus man-to-man.
And once again, even if he would have caught that pass to the point you made earlier on 3rd and extra long situations, you've got to get to the sticks.
Eagles punt hung up there again. Gilchrist makes the grab and then shoved out immediately. There again for the special teams tackle, Zach Brown. Tonight, ESPN delivers an SEC showdown. Does Les Miles have that rabbit's foot in his pocket still for the matchup against the Florida Gators? It's LSU versus Florida, college football primetime, presented by Hampton Hotels. ESPN tonight, 7:30 Eastern, also available online and on your phone.
It's got to be the ugliest 5-0 in college football, doesn't it?
or the luckiest 5-0. You know, I'd rather be lucky than good.
13 men on the field last week helping that win. That's Bruce Carter, the supremely talented strong side linebacker coming off the field for North Carolina. Was Sturdivant out today? Carolina has missed 7 of its 11 defensive starters from the beginning of the year. Their ineligibility, suspension, and Quan Sturdivant injured today. They can ill afford a Bruce Carter loss.
And that is one of the byproducts of not having so many of these bodies. So yeah, yes, the starters are out and the supreme talented players like Quinn and Austin, but not to have the depth in the backups. You must now play your starters on special teams and risk exactly that injury.
That's you're so correct. And I'll tell you what, that takes its toll over the course of the season.
Sturdivant already out. Now Bruce Carter being worked on the North Carolina bench. 2nd and 7. Well, just like the Tar Heels have throughout the season, whoever's on the field, go out and make the plays. This time, Kevin Reddick, the middle linebacker.
And I'll tell you what else takes a toll. Pretty remarkable statistically when you dig into this game and you realize on the season, 50 drives for both Carolina and their opponents. Carolina has started average field position, their own 29, the opponents, their own 43, and you've seen that take shape in this second quarter where Clemson has dominated the real estate.
3rd and 3 for the Tigers. Play fake. Parker flips, incomplete, dangerous pass. Quentin Copels, the left tackle, applied the pressure. Intended for Jamie Harper on the flip.
And again, that's what you have to do in that situation. Again, the problem sometimes is that the receiver's not ready for that type of a throw. He's expecting an overhand throw. He escapes the rush, which is hard to do, but right there decides I can't get it. But then my guy right there does a nice job of putting the ball in his hands away from the defender.
That's a heads-up play, a dangerous move as you see the conversation. We talked about him being conservative. That's the right play. You just got to have an awareness on third down. When your quarterback is still alive back there, be an option for him.
Zimmerman's punt again drops inside the 5, but it'll be a touchback. Tar Heels get it at the 20. A 51-yard punt in the air, net to 31.
Yeah, the net punt is the very, very most important. And Dawson Zimmerman's been pretty good, averaging 46.5 yards a kick this year. He's one of their best weapons. And Clemson felt coming into this game that special teams, because of not just the kicking component, but also the return component, is going to be a significant advantage for them in this game.
And what a great shot you had, and you just saw Butch Davis there. And we talked earlier, and sitting down with Butch yesterday, you could see the stress and the wear and tear of everything that's gone on. But at his core, as a football coach, and you saw him talking to Dante Page-Moss, you know, as you said, Coach, this is his refuge and safe place out on the football field.
White, short gain, if any, on first down.
Well, right now, this is the only place where he can truly affect his situation. He can't control what the university does, what the NCAA does. He controls what his players do out here on the field.
And right now, he's watching his offense after a very productive opening drive where we saw great mix and run and pass and play action. The last 3 drives, all punts, and really having a difficult time on early downs establishing any run game against this front 7.
In the first quarter, North Carolina had 4 first downs. Second quarter, 0. Second down pass from Yates, incomplete. Step-for-step coverage from Byron Maxwell on the intended receiver, Eric Highsmith.
And again, we talked about all of the shifting and the motion. They're trying to confuse the safeties, take a step of aggressiveness away from them. And again, so far, it hasn't worked.
Other than that one shot down the field where they missed Boyd, you're absolutely right. These corners. And how about 3 of the 4 guys in the secondary? We talked about their tackling. Gilchrist, McDaniel, and Maxwell, who you saw in that tight coverage, all 3 of those guys have never missed a game in their collegiate career. 44 consecutive games played. So a very talented and veteran secondary.
And who is the strength conditioning coach? I want to know, because you don't play that many games without being hurt at some point in time unless you're really working hard in the off season and in the weight room.
Big third down coming for North Carolina after the Tar Heel timeout. Before this one kicked off, we talked about the talent on the rosters for North Carolina and Clemson. A couple of those guys not available for North Carolina today. Run on third down. Daquan Bowers and the Clemson defense trying to make a stop. Play fake. TJ Yates over the middle. Incomplete. Knocked away by Marcus Gilchrist. Here come a couple of flags.
2 very late flags. I think they got caught in the officials' pockets, to tell you the truth, because it seemed to be a little bit of contact prior to the ball getting there.
Penalty looks to be against Sensabaugh, the backup corner, rather than Gilchrist.
Very aggressive coverage today with both teams. Unafraid to lock on to somewhat inexperienced receivers.
Pass interference. Defense. It's a spot foul. Automatic first down.
one of the things that happened there, too, the receiver should have taken it another step or two down the field and then come back. See, he just stops right there, which, again, the DB now comes through him. And, again, I would like to see the receiver take 2 more steps, separate, and come back. Again, the DB thought he could go through the receiver. Results going to
You watched that route, and you knew Highsmith wasn't going deep. Every one of you on TV could see the body language and otherwise. If you're going to affect a corner and press coverage, you must sell that deep route.
Play fake on first down. Yates chased by Bowers. Complete. Incomplete downfield. A wide open man, but Boyd couldn't make the grab as Hall knocks it away from Boyd.
You see a little turn route here to follow, double out, and again he's over the top, just waiting for the ball. He actually tipped. Great play by the defensive back to recover, get a piece of that ball.
That's Rashard Hall, the youngster in that group. I alluded to the veteran guys around him. Hall, a redshirt sophomore, but a fabulous job with makeup speed. That little movement in the pocket that Yates had to do to avoid Bowers, that was the difference between the completion, in that case, a knockdown ball.
Hall, a freshman All-American a year ago. Yates rolling, looking long again. Another wide open receiver. This time it's Johnny White who makes the grab. Dragged down at the Tiger 20. Hall recovers to make the stop after a 51-yard gain.
And you could feel the gasp in the stadium because actually play side here, it looks like Yates has a chance with the receiver down the field. But instead, he comes back. Those eyes, once again, of an aggressive Clemson defense. Those eyes get lost. White gets behind for the enormous play.
And aggressive play calling, back-to-back, deep throws, attacking the weakness of the Clemson defense.
Timeout, Clemson. Giving us a chance to check in with Robert Flores.
All right, Carter, big play there, big play here at the big house. Levon Bell, 41 yards up the gut. Michigan State leading Michigan. Denard Robinson, everything QB for the Wolverines, 92 yards through the air, 42 yards on the ground. Number 1 Alabama still trailing number 19 South Carolina, 21-3 inside of 2 minutes in the first half. Carter.
Late second there, Robert, with South Carolina leading Alabama. How surprised are you that the Gamecocks are beating Alabama right now?
I am, although we talked about the fact that Garcia was trying, he was having a great season. If he gets the fumbles things under control, Alshon Jeffrey is a huge target. They can run the football, but still I'm surprised at the Alabama defense.
Did you see the numbers for Garcia right there against a Nick Saban defense? He is 9 of 9 passing with 3 touchdowns. That doesn't happen.
No, that's a pretty good day for anybody against anybody's defense.
Could be a great day for South Carolina teams if Clemson can win in North Carolina and the Gamecocks beat Alabama. After the 51-yard completion to Johnny White, 1st and 10 for the Tar Heels just outside the 20. White again, this time on the ground, goes picking for 5.
And Kevin Steele, the defensive coordinator there at Clemson, we had the shot of him going a little ballistic at his guys there because he knew coming into this game that Carolina would take 6 or 7 shots. He told us that on the call. I fully expected. Why wouldn't you when we have given up the big plays as we have by being over-aggressive? And that 51-yarder where 3 punts and your defense has really stifled North Carolina, that 51-yard wheel route has really changed the landscape of the momentum here in the first half.
And it was a pass interference that kept the drive alive for the Tar Heels. Yates pumps incomplete. Intended for Bird, the walk-on fullback, playing in place of Devin Ramsey, withheld today by North Carolina. A late withholding.
And again, the Clemson staff talked about not giving up uncontested big plays. If we get beat, we get beat. But let's make sure we cover people. We have our eyes right. We see the receivers down the field.
And when they have done it, it's been brilliant defense. Other than the one over-aggressive pass interference, they have forced check down after check down. But eventually, those shots finally hit home for North Carolina.
3rd and 5 for the Heels in the Tiger red zone, inside the Clemson 20. Yates pass behind, but corralled by Dwight Jones. Nice grab by the junior from Burlington, North Carolina. His first catch of the day.
I think Yates rushed that throw a little bit. That was a vicinity throw we talked about. Tough catch. It's thrown in the vicinity of the receiver. But again, you see the pressure coming just right in your face, which is difficult for a quarterback. You can step up, but when it's inside the pocket, internal pressure, that's very difficult.
That's exactly right. And sometimes on those little option routes or check downs, when you've lost your sense of vision because those bodies are in front of you, forces a more inaccurate pass.
4th down. Butch Davis says we're going for it. White has it inside the 10. 1st down, Carolina.
Gutsy call, but again, I think when your back is to the wall, when you want to make a statement about your football team and your football program, go for it on 4th down.
Johnny,
get it.
Yeah, get it. That's the important part. Get it on 4th down. White had the big play in the passing game. He's a guy who's bounced around the field from running back to cornerback to wide receiver because, in part, Ryan Houston still ineligible for North Carolina at running back. He's there in the backfield and now motions out as a wide receiver. They like his hands as well.
He's got one-on-one situation at the bottom of the field.
Yates looks the other way. T.J. Yates will throw it to the pylon on 1st down. Branch putting the pressure. That's Andre Branch in the bandit end position, as the Tigers call it.
And they talk about Branch being a smart player. This is exactly, he's also quick enough to recover and, again, not allow Yates to buy any more time. Throws it away to save the down and distance.
And if you're a young quarterback, when you get into the red zone, touchdown or check down, and if it's not there, throw the football away. You see the 5th-year senior living to get to 2nd down.
2nd and goal. Keep an eye on Pianalto lined up in the slot, bottom of the screen. Pressure coming. Yates, complete. Touchdown, Carolina. Jeremy Boyd into the end zone for the first time since the opener against LSU. But Boyd is very slow getting up in the end zone.
Just a zone beater there for North Carolina. You're going to affect the defense because Zach Pianalto, one of the impact players we talked about, without maybe a catch today, still affects the middle of that Clemson defense. He clears it out and gives the youngster Boyd, just a true sophomore, the opportunity to win. And boy, did he take a blow getting into the end zone.
Yeah, and it looks like his left shoulder. He gets hit there, but watch him as he lands. And again, he got hit on the shoulder. Then that shoulder goes numb. You can see it like he's not really controlling it very well. He gets hit on that shoulder by the defender right there. Boom. And then again lands on it too, awkwardly. He was in a lot of pain. That shoulder may have popped out and gone back in.
What a great shot on that replay. The level of anticipation that a 5th-year senior quarterback plays with. Your clock gets sped up in the red zone to begin with. You see the unblocked looper coming right at Yates, and he has the poise to throw that ball just as Boyd's getting out of his break. What an enormous play before halftime.
Under further review.
And they may be taking a look at this play to see if Boyd gets into the end zone.
Ron Cherry is our referee today.
You see Brewer with the hit.
Again, it's where the ball is when his body touches down. So as you can see this again, we're not going to be able to see the ball. I'll tell you what, it's really close. That
might be real close.
That may or may not be at the 1-inch marker.
It doesn't have to be the knee that hits. In this case, where that gluteus maximus hits, where exactly is the football, and is it cross the threshold of that goal line?
And again, if you can't really tell, the call will stand on the field.
The rule says, as we discussed, any part of the body, any part of the ball carrier's body except his hand or foot touches the ground. So the goalie or gluteus.
The rule on the field stays. Double touchdown.
And Cherry gives us the business with the
touchdown call for Jeremy Boyd, saying that the ruling on the field stands as called.
And those plays going into, and when you can create momentum going into locker room at halftime and coming out, that's a good graphic there. You're right. Both of those 4th down conversions that Carolina converts.
Well, he was willing to roll the dice.
Here in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. As Mike Bellotti said, when your program is being questioned, when your players maybe have a little bit of confidence questions, go for it on 4th down. Prove it, prove it. That's what Butch Davis has done twice, going for it on 4th down. Both times the Tar Heels have picked up the first and put it in the end zone.
Well, a team that's decimated by suspensions and lack of starters and depth and all that, you got to go for it when you get the opportunity.
Good kickoff from Casey Barth. Gilchrist brings it out of the end zone. Gilchrist fumbles the football. Tigers recover.
And he's such a dangerous returner. He's averaging over 27 yards of return this year in kickoffs. But you see, trying to squeeze right through. Ball got nudged out and fortunately comes back into Clemson's hands.
That's Pete Mangum, a backup defensive end. And boy, has North Carolina responded to the special teams challenges. They have been poor in special teams for the first 4 games of the year. They've been stellar today.
Well, when you get challenged, you tend to try to respond.
The key is they've responded well. Ellington on the draw. Andre Ellington only picks up 4. He's been bottled up by the North Carolina defense. Tydreek Powell makes the stop this time.
We talk too, when you're playing a lot of people and you're playing young players, they can actually get better at and astound you because, again, it just takes experience. They're getting on-the-field experience every day.
Ellington averaging 95 a game, has only 28 at this point. Hurry-up offense for the Tigers. Allen makes the grab. First down, 4th catch of the day for Dwayne Allen. Bruce Carter back on the field for North Carolina, forces him out.
And certainly Clemson would like to get something going, get something on the board here before the end of the half.
Now Carter right back off the field for UNC.
Yeah, he knows he is a warrior as Bruce Carter, a senior here in Chapel Hill with all of his battery mates out. He's trying to cut it up, but that shoulder just not allowing him right now.
On first down, Copels pressures Parker, forces an incompletion. Second down coming up, 18 seconds to go.
Well, I tell you, this game just has a real NFL feel to it today. There is a lot of NFL talent, a number of scouts here. There's going to be a lot of players from this game drafted into the NFL. And so often at that level, it's a play or two that makes a difference. And that's exactly the case in this first half. That 51-yard wheel route has really changed the perspective of this game. And Clemson in the second half has got to find a way to make some plays offensively.
How about to close the first half? Parker near the sideline, complete, first down. Clock will stop temporarily as the chains are moved. It's Ellington out of the backfield for 11.
Again, you've got about time for one more play, so you've got to set it up right now and decide, you're going to throw a quick one and then throw the bomb, or you're going to set up a screen, the Hail Mary. What do you do in this situation?
That's Bruce Carter taking an early exit to the North Carolina locker room. So again, weak side linebacker Quan Sturdivant unable to go today, second straight week with a hamstring injury. Now Bruce Carter on the other side off the field for North Carolina as Clemson tries to drive for a score before the half. Our Chick-fil-A drive recap going back to that last North Carolina drive. There was a pass interference that allowed North Carolina to continue on the drive, a 51-yard strike to Johnny White, a 4th down conversion, allowing the touchdown from Jeremy Boyd from TJ Yates to give the Tar Heels the 14-3 lead in the closing minutes at the time of the first half. And now a measurement showing that Clemson is short of a first down. That means that the clock will start winding as soon as the ball is marked ready for play.
Well, it's called timeout. It'll be and the ball is snapped, but they've got 2 plays. They've got to get the first down, and then they'll have a play called and say, right on the ball, we get the first down. They got to stop it while they reset the chains, and then the clock will be going. Unless they have not, can they have any timeouts left? I can't.
2 timeouts.
2 timeouts. So they've got enough. Yeah, they'll call timeout after the first down.
11 seconds. 11 seconds.
11 seconds.
Timeout on the field.
On the clock.
Clemson, this is a 30-second timeout.
So again, Ron Cherry explaining Clemson did take a timeout prior to the measurement. 2 timeouts remaining, 11 seconds left, 3rd down.
You know, one thing that does jump out with Clemson as well, and some of their lack of playmaking offensively, I think is 2 factors this afternoon. Number one, you come off a game where you turn the ball over 6 times as they did to Miami a week ago. I think can make you a little bit gun shy. And remember, Clemson is playing a number of young people at receiver. Dabo Swinney, the former receiver coach himself, has said, no, I'm turning the page on my veteran guys. I'm going to go with my youngsters. I'm going to go with Bryce McNeil. I'm going to go with DeAndre Hopkins, redshirt freshman, true freshman. I'm going to take that risk. And this afternoon, a veteran secondary for North Carolina has really locked onto them down the field.
And they're still a very explosive team offensively. They got a whole half of football left.
On 3rd and 1, Parker to the sideline, caught by Hopkins. If he didn't get the first down, then the clock, well, Hopkins may be out of bounds, so the clock stopped at 4 seconds. Brings up 4th down.
That play didn't work the way they hoped. I'll tell you what, it's still going to not come down to anything because there's 1 more play left in the half.
That is a difficult
that is a bad
forward. Progress should have been past that first down marker.
He could challenge that, but it cost him a timeout.
One way or the other, 4th down, last play of the first half. Parker heaves it. Tipped and incomplete, and for the first time this year, Clemson doesn't score a touchdown in the first half. North Carolina, a slow starting team who rallies, takes a 14-3 lead to the half. Stay tuned after the break for the halftime report.
Welcome to the Cooper Tires halftime report. John Saunders alongside of Jesse Palmer. Last week, the Ohio State Buckeyes did not look very impressive. Didn't look like the #2 team in the nation facing Illinois. Although we found out today Illinois might be a little better than we thought. We'll show you that a little later. But Ohio State facing Indiana, looking to bounce back. Jim Tressel finds Terrell Pryor as his quarterback. Works out very well. 60 yards to Brandon Zane.
Pryor only 76 passing yards last week against Illinois. 334 passing yards today. That's the 10th biggest total in Ohio State history throwing the football.
Prior to DeVere Posey, 17 yards in this touchdown. Posey had 8 receptions for 103 yards and a touchdown. Minnesota facing Wisconsin. Brett Bielema. They're also trying to bounce back from a subpar game where they lost to Michigan State. But facing Minnesota for the Paul Bunyan Axe. Adam Weber to Marquise Gray in the end zone. 9-yard touchdown.
Adam Weber only completed 11 passes. 3 of them, though, went for scores.
But you can't stop the rush. A little pitch there to James White, and he takes it in. He had 118 yards.
Wisconsin came into the game averaging 239 yards on the ground.
John Clay, he had 111 yards on 21 carries. 41-23. There's the Paul Bunyan Axe. So next week at Camp Randall at Wisconsin, Ohio State faces Wisconsin. 2 tremendous offenses.
This is the first big road test for Ohio State this year. Defensively, Ohio State is not allowed a 100-yard rusher in 29 straight games. But this is the first time this year they're going to see a potent running attack. John Clay, James White at running back, and an offensive line that averages 319 pounds. On the flip side, Wisconsin is big enough and they're physical enough defensively to take the run away from Ohio State. So can Terrell Pryor make the throws necessary to get this big win on the road? Camp Randall is going to be rocking. We'll find out a lot about Ohio State next week.
We'll be jumping up and down from the start of the opening kick, which brings us to the Cooper Tires poll question, and only 21% of the nation would take Terrell Pryor as their starting quarterback for a big game. Most people would take Denard Robinson.
Kellen Moore, 6 touchdown passes, 0 interceptions against ranked competition this year. He's big in big games. I like Kellen Moore in this poll.
I'm going with the Michigan quarterback. Illinois against Penn State. This is what I talked about earlier. Joe Paterno coming off the loss to Iowa, and Robert Bolden, freshman, struggles here. Nate Bussey takes this one in 16 yards.
Robert Bolden looked like a true freshman. Only 8 of 21 on the day. Illinois defensively were able to confuse the young quarterback.
Jason Ford then takes his pitch and tosses it to Evan Wilson. 4 yards on the halfback pass. Illinois first ever win in Happy Valley. A team in need of a victory? How about Georgia? Aaron Murray, the young quarterback, getting it done on the ground through his legs, 35 yards on this touchdown run.
Murray had a great day throwing the football. He was 17 of 25, but he shows the poise as a freshman quarterback. Nothing open downfield. Take it yourself with a big score.
2 rushing touchdowns for him. And then how about having A.J. Green back in the lineup?
He's the best player on the field for Georgia, and Tennessee with a loss starts SEC play 0-3 for the second time in the last 3 years.
Tennessee 9 yards rushing. Baylor and Texas Tech. Weird play. Texas Tech trying for an onside kick, but the ball only goes 8 yards. Touch the ball, somebody, please.
You still got to touch it. It's a live ball for Baylor to pick up. If you touch it, it's illegal touching. Baylor at worst gets the ball at midfield. You cannot give up a big play on special teams like that if you're Texas Tech.
Terrence Ganaway with the touchdown, but Taylor Potts had a great game to lead them back.
And Baylor has now lost 15 in a row to their in-state rival, Texas Tech.
Taylor Potts, 42 of 59, 462. Coming up, we'll look at our matchups in prime time on the ESPN family of networks. This is the Cooper Tires Halftime Report. Welcome to the Cooper Tires Halftime Report. John Saunders alongside of Jesse Palmer. Yates finds Boyd here, and North Carolina has a 14-3 lead over Clemson. Now, the #1 team in the nation, Alabama, has looked very much so from the start of the season, despite having to replace a lot of players on the defense. Hasn't seemed to matter. Guess what? It's mattering this afternoon as they face South Carolina. Steve Spurrier's squad came ready to play. And Stephen Garcia, his quarterback, was perfect. I mean, perfect in the first half, finding Marcus Lattimore.
Steve Spurrier told me earlier in the season he loves Marcus Lattimore's ability catching the football out of the backfield.
Garcia to Alshon Jeffrey, 26 yards and a touchdown.
Alshon Jeffrey came into the game averaging a $125 receiving per contest, tops in the SEC.
Garcia not done with Jeffrey. Finds him again. This is the second quarter, 15 yards. 21-3. South Carolina with the lead over #1. Greg McElroy trying to lead them back through the air because the running game isn't there. Julio Jones, 8 yards on this reception, but they miss the extra point, so South Carolina goes to halftime with a 21-9 lead. We remind you, though, that Alabama was down to Arkansas 17-7, and Ryan Mallett in that game was 15 of 22 for a touchdown in the first half. He wasn't perfect the way Garcia is right now.
Yeah.
Alabama has no rushing game. This is unbelievable.
You have to give so much credit to South Carolina on defense. After giving up 246 rushing yards last year against Mark Ingram, they've held both Ingram and Trent Richardson under 4 yards per carry in this contest. The quarterback, Greg McElroy, is 17 of 21, but South Carolina has been able to get great pressure on him in the pocket, forcing him to move around and make plays. On the flip side, what can you say about Stephen Garcia at quarterback? The embattled junior. He's been in Steve Spurrier's doghouse his entire career. He wasn't named the starting quarterback till right before the regular season. Right. 9 for 9, 3 touchdown passes. This is his virtuoso performance against the best defense in college football.
Steve Spurrier's got a balanced offense, only throwing it 9 times in the first half because he's got Marcus Lattimore, the true freshman there. Now, Arkansas, we mentioned them against Alabama. Today, they're taking on Texas A&M, 21-14 lead.
Well, Gerard Johnson came into this game with 10 turnovers in the past 6 quarters. He's done a better job taking care of the football, but Arkansas has been able to get great pressure on him. Texas A&M able to get a late touchdown just before the half to keep this close.
Mallett with 3 touchdown passes there. Michigan State and Michigan. Welcome back, Mark D'Antonio, the head coach of Michigan State. who hasn't been to a game for his team since suffering that heart attack after the win against Notre Dame. Edwin Baker takes the handoff, finds a hole, and goes 61 yards.
Michigan's defense has been the weak link for this football team. They came into the day giving up 434 yards per game.
Denard Robinson, who threw a pick earlier, finds Martell Webb open for a touchdown.
Able to take advantage of a Michigan State cornerback that slipped on the play for the easy score.
And then Le'Veon Bell takes a handoff and goes 41 yards.
One of the best 1-2 punches in college football when you talk about Edwin Baker and Le'Veon Bell.
Second half coming up with a 7-point game. Wyoming facing TCU. TCU number 5 this week. They keep dropping despite the fact they keep winning. Andy Dalton fires a pass to Jeremy Curley, does the rest, and takes it 50 yards.
Andy Dalton, the winningest quarterback in TCU history, able to hit Jeremy Curley on the double move down the seam.
And then Dalton looking deep again, this time to Bart Johnson, 31 yards.
People say that Andy Dalton is not a good deep thrower. He looks pretty good so far in this game as TCU looking for its 19th straight regular season win.
31-0. And what's happened to the pistol offense of UCLA?
Only 25 rushing yards in the first half for an offense that had 268 rushing yards against Texas just 2 weeks ago. California cannot be stopped on offense. And what about Notre Dame? Brian Kelly, when he was head coach at Cincinnati, had a lot of familiarity with Pittsburgh. 17-3 at the half.
And Michael Floyd almost had another touchdown pass with an unbelievable catch that was called back. Air Force blows up Colorado State 49-27. And Syracuse squeaks one out over South Florida. This is the Cooper Tires halftime report. Stick around. More to come in a moment. This is the Cooper Tires halftime report. John Saunders and Jesse Palmer taking a look at games on the ESPN family of networks tonight.
Auburn features 3 of the SEC's top 10 rushers in Cam Newton, Ontario McCaleb, and Michael Dyer. Auburn trying to start the season 6-0 for the first time since 2004.
Florida facing LSU. Can the Gators bounce back from that loss to Alabama?
A matchup of 2 struggling offenses. LSU quarterbacks Jarrett Lee and Jordan Jefferson will be facing a Florida defense that has 12 interceptions that leads the country. John Brantley nursing sore ribs after a beatdown last week at Alabama.
In the Pac-10, 2 teams trying to bounce back from losses.
After big losses last week, and Stanford gave USC its worst loss last season since 1966. Andrew Luck looking for a big day for Stanford against the 5th worst pass defense in the nation.
And then this big matchup every year between Miami and Florida State.
FSU defense leads the nation with 25 sacks. Ja'Cory Harris from Miami has thrown 8 interceptions in the last 3 games. The road team has won 4 games in a row.
All those games coming up tonight. This is the Cooper Tires halftime report.
Relatively even football game between the North Carolina Tar Heels and the Clemson Tigers, and yet it's the Tar Heels with a 14-3 lead as we get set for a second half kickoff. Carter Blackburn with former Oregon coach Mike Bellotti, former Washington quarterback Brock Heward. So if all the numbers are pretty even, how is North Carolina up 14-3?
They've not hurt themselves. They've absolutely 0 penalties. And I think for Clemson, you go in at halftime, 24 passes to 14 runs. With those 2 running backs, I don't like that balance if I'm Clemson.
I agree. The new storm has been way too quiet. They've got to get more touches for Andre Ellington on the field. But the star of the show so far, me, is Johnny White. He's the leading rusher and the leading receiver yardage-wise for the North Carolina team.
So we'll see if the new storm can pick up maybe some
thunder and lightning.
Headwind, some a low-pressure system maybe pushing through to get the new storm crackling in the second half.
Or it might be high pressure. You never know.
Yep. High pressure, low pressure, converging. It's blue skies, Carolina blue skies over Kenan Stadium for this ACC matchup. Both teams 2-2 on the year, 0-1 in the ACC. So important for both the Heels and the Tigers to avoid an 0-2 ACC start. Searcy across the 27 to near the 29. Our Pacific Life game summary. Big hitting all over the football field today. Both defenses And special teams, Johnny White, 4-yard touchdown run. Then after a big 51-yard pass play from Johnny White, Boyd into the end zone. Yeah, big hits.
Very, very physical on both sides of the ball. You knew that coming in. There was too much talent on this field to not see some of the collisions that we have through the first 30 minutes.
Well, it's two great defenses, but North Carolina has typically been a second-half team or a great finisher, so that puts a lot of onus on Clemson to get something done early.
That's right. Even with the lack of depth, 59-19, you've outscored your opponents in the second half.
Johnny White dragged down by Jarvis Jenkins, the senior from Clemson, South Carolina, with a big hit to start the second half for the Tigers.
And this is important for Clemson defensively. When you're down 14-3 on the road, you expect your seniors to make a statement. I guarantee you Dabo Swinney was in the ear of that defensive unit and saying, we need a 3-and-out to start the second half.
After the tackle for loss from Jenkins, 2nd and 13. T.J. Yates, long drop, looking for the screen. It's incomplete as the Tiger defense disrupts the screen game, forcing 3rd and 13 already.
You're seeing a sort of renewed energy from Clemson. Again, we talked about the fact that they are typically a high-scoring team. They're frustrated by not getting in the end zone. And again, at the same time, Jarvis Jenkins is not only one of their emotional leaders, but he's a physical leader on the field.
And that defensive line we just panned through is not a group that you want to block on 3rd and extra long situations.
Yates flushed out on 3rd and 13, chased from behind, so now he's going to scramble and drop well short of the first down. Carrico Hawkins ends up making the stop. Brandon Thompson, the nose guard, applies the pressure.
And that's the 3-and-out that Clemson desperately needed to turn some of the momentum here. And now let's see. Number one, if their special teams can get in order, because North Carolina dominated that group in the first half. And I fully expect to see more of this two-headed monster run game.
Beagles solidifying the punt game, at least in the first half. For North Carolina, this is his second game punting. Window the wing kick here will hit inside the 40 and take a Carolina roll to near the 25. So the Clemson defense gets the 3-and-out. Now we'll see if the Tiger offense can make hay. Strong performance in Kansas. Jimmy Johnson has taken over the chase lead. The chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup continues with a Pepsi Max 400 at California on ESPN tomorrow at 3 Eastern. Even with the win last week, Greg Biffle is on the outside looking in.
Did you notice who the two guys down covering the punt? Johnny White and Anthony Elsie. The 1 and 3 tailbacks on the team down, the first people down covering the punt.
Did you notice Jimmy Johnson? How many in a row is he one of us?
I love how everyone, he's going for his 5th straight. I love how everyone counted Jimmy Johnson out before the sprint began. Quick hitter to Hopkins. The true freshman makes the grab. Zach Brown there for the tackle. 11 tackles now for 47 for North Carolina's Zach Brown, filling in for the injured Quinn Sturdivant at weak side linebacker.
He's all over the field. And again, it's interesting, too, to see Clemson still come out with the pass. And again, maybe they're concerned about their ability to run the football consistently against that tough North Carolina front.
Sturdivant, you see, without the shoulder pads, a hamstring not allowing him to go this afternoon.
Barker rolls, completes on 2nd down to the tight end, Allen.
And I don't see a front 7 here. Correct me if I'm wrong, Coach, but this is a group defensively for North Carolina that's 85th in America, giving up 176 rush yards a game. You've got true freshmen playing, new backups in. Why is this a group you're not attacking with the run game?
Well, I think, again, you've got both safeties back this week. I think they're an improving football team. I think they got shell-shocked early a little bit. They've got a couple guys back, and they have something to play for now, too. This is a league game. This is a chance to get – they're both 2-2. Both these teams have something really here to prove today.
That's as close as you're going to see. First down is the signal.
I would have thought that was an inch short.
That looked about an inch short, but Ron Cherry says first down.
I guess that was close enough. I'll tell you what, that's very, if I was the coach on the other side, I would have said, well, I guess if it's touching or all the edge of the ball. When it
gets to the duct tape, isn't that a first down?
So did the chain move on the adjustment, so. first down by the very tip of the pig's nose. Play fake on first down. Parker takes a shot, looking for McNeil. It's batted away, incomplete. Mywan Jackson getting just his 3rd start at corner because Charles Brown and Kevin Burney both still out.
Very well covered. I'm not sure that ball should have been thrown there. There was a receiver underneath open, but I think they just said, we're going to take a shot. We got to open this game up a little bit.
So among those starters for North Carolina, both corners, Charles Brown and Kevin Burney, the safeties are both back, but a total of 6 starters out today for North Carolina. And again, it's a combination of suspension and ineligibility, either for potential academic improprieties or for potential dealings with professional agents. No final judgment on either of those matters. Parker scrambles on 2nd down, shoved out. Here's 3rd down coming for the Tigers.
One of the things, too, I think give some credit to Butch Davis. He and his staff have recruited very, very well. When you take 8 or 10 players out of the mix and you're still competitive, in fact, you're winning a game at this point, you've done a great job of recruiting young players into the program that are ready to play.
And how about 2 hours before kickoff, the word coming that Devin Ramsey, a fullback who had not been previously held out. The athletic director, Dick Bedore, an hour before kickoff, conducting an impromptu press conference to once again deal with the investigation. But right now, it's football, and it's 3rd and 6. Parker releases. It is caught by Hopkins. Nice grab by DeAndre Hopkins coming back to the football.
They say he's one of the quickest receivers on the team, has great ball skills, and very physical. And see him here, just focus, concentrate on the ball. That's one of the toughest things when a DB flashes through your vision in the line of sight of the ball. That's great concentration.
And that's an awfully dangerous throw. You see Fantroy there, the corner. He read it all the way. We talked about these receivers not giving away their route. That true freshman, you could see the junior corner saw that route coming.
Harper dropped for a loss of 2 as the Clemson ground game continues to sputter. Kevin Reddick leads the Tar Heel attack.
Wow, did that draw a swarm of blue jerseys right there? I mean, it's like they handed the ball and said, okay, let's get about 4 or 5 blue jerseys in on the ball. A bunch of other guys rallying. That's what you want from a defense. They stay hungry. There's Bruce Carter again in there despite the injury.
And that is your strong safety, Searcy, all the way at the line of scrimmage. Clemson's going to see that from the booth here. Anticipate a shot down the field some point soon.
Over the middle to Allen again. Short of a first down. Reddick on the stop.
I really like this kid. Now, their receivers, route-wise, have some room to grow down in the field. Watching these young kids, you know, it's like poker. You don't want to tell. And many times you see young receivers, be it with their shoulders or centering their feet, they're going to tell a defense what's coming at them. Dwayne Allen, there's a reason he's their leading receiver. Not only a big body, does a real nice job getting in and out of his routes.
So you want to have poker feet?
Poker face, poker feet, right?
Hopkins bobbles. Can't hang on. Incomplete. Mywan Jackson in coverage there with Zach Brown. 4th and short.
And that's what you live with true freshmen.
Exactly. He does a great job right there. Gets pushed just a little bit. Again, right now is thinking about what am I going to do? I'm going to start running. Doesn't focus on getting the ball all the way into the pocket.
And Parker did a really nice job on that 3rd down of looking that zone coverage off. He had his eyes to the left. He came back. Everything was dialed up correctly. You see the 18-year-old from Central South Carolina not come down with a critical 3rd down conversion.
Zimmerman hangs it up. Searcy makes the grab inside the 15. Punt to start the 3rd. The North Carolina coaches have been very pleased with the way the players that they have put on the field this year have handled all of the distractions. They've been able to focus on football and perform well. If North Carolina can hang on and win this game and go to 3-2, despite the fact 14 different players have missed time this year for the Tar Heels. Johnny White, the star today, pushing for another North Carolina first down as we check in with Robert Flores.
All right,
right, Carter, South Carolina had a 21-9 lead on #1 Alabama, but an errant snap on the first play of the second half leads to a safety. Alabama has kicked a field goal to make it 21-14. #1 down just 7, third quarter. Carter.
They aren't the defending national champs for nothing. Don't count them out.
Say dadgummit.
The old ball coach said that?
Toss the visor. I guarantee there's dadgummit in there. Wide again, flag on the play. And some more pushing and shoving at the end of the play. Here's where we point out that a lot of these players played high school football against each other, recruited by both Clemson and North Carolina. There's a lot of familiarity. Holding.
And that's going to be the first penalty today on Butch Davis's Tar Heels.
Holding. 65. Offense. 10 yards. Replay today.
And let me say this, North Carolina, they would love to have this be a punt, back and forth game. They've got the lead. They want to run the ball, run the clock, and get out of here. Clemson, on the other hand, down 11 points, needs to do something, make something happen.
And once again, 99, Jarvis Jenkins makes the play. You saw him on the last drive, the senior coming alive. Too much for Cam Holland, the center, as he just tackles him to the ground.
First and 20. Yates, long drop. White out of the backfield, wrapped up for a minimal gain on first down, maybe about 3. Christian makes the grab. Quandon Christian. A formidable defensive line for Clemson.
Yeah, this isn't a bad group for North Carolina. You were out at their practice, and you actually said their backup linemen just looked apart just as much as the starters.
Their offensive line group, and they said they're going to play 8 offensive linemen today, was one of the most impressive from first string through second string that I've seen in Division I football.
Empty backfield, 2nd and 18. This is White in motion. Yates pressured, sacked. Daquan Bowers has his 2nd sack of the day, the 6th of the season.
And that is a true freshman, and James Hurst locked onto it. One time the #1 recruit in all of America coming out of high school. And you see the size. Daquan Bauer is 6'4", 275, and you watch his leverage. Did you see him get underneath the true freshman James Hurst and just drive him into the quarterback?
And that was just a bold power rush, right? He just got off balance, up too high, had no chance to make a stand against Daquan.
Both Robert Quinn and Marvin Austin not on the field today for North Carolina because of ineligibility. It's Daquan Bowers making the plays on the defensive line for the Clemson Tigers. Pair of sacks today. White runs right past him. But 4th down coming up. I spoke with Daquan Bowers this week. I asked him about, all right, you were the #1 recruit. What was it that made the difference with the Clemson Tigers out of all the letters you got? He said, when I was a kid, my cousin Chris Franklin played there. I loved going to the games. I loved being a Tiger. I loved the orange and the purple. That combined with his parents' comfort with the academic support made Daquan Bowers choose Clemson.
Well, the NFL scouts here, what they love is they see a guy bend at that level. You know, 6'4", 275, and to be that flexible in the hips and to drive that tackle back. Great illustration of his raw talent.
This is Hopkins on the return. Hopkins down to the 20. DeAndre Hopkins. 32-yard return for the Tigers.
Short punt with not enough hang time equals great return opportunity. Here you see him moving up, catching the ball. Got the crease right there. It's one-on-one with the punter. Makes him miss, but thank goodness, Bruce Carter, game-saving tackle.
Yeah, that's the difference. If you don't have your starting strong side linebacker who runs a 4.39 himself, that's a touchdown for Clemson.
Hopkins, a legend at Daniel High School, Central South Carolina, the Clemson area. Led the Lions to their first basketball state title since 1967. Had 1,200 yards as a receiver, 28 INTs as a defensive back in his senior year alone. And now he's on the field making plays for the Clemson Tigers. Harper wants to throw. Chunks it to the sideline, incomplete on the tailback toss.
You know, I had seen some of the Clemson folks out at the buffet at halftime and asked them what have they seen, and their feeling and their sentiment is, why so cute? Why are we trying all of these wrinkles in a halfback pass? Isn't there a time where you just line up with a 230-pound back or Andre Ellington, who's averaged 7 yards in his career, and try to establish your run at the line of scrimmage?
Perhaps choosing different items from the buffet. Parker to throw on second down. Incomplete. There's a flag down in the defensive backfield.
And I'm going to guess that's defensive holding. Yeah, it's a holding call for sure in the backfield. One of the things, I think it's ultimately respect for the North Carolina defense, in all honesty. I know that you're shaking your head right now, but again, coaches, again, can be talked out of things fairly easily.
That is defensive holding.
Boy, that is an enormous penalty, too.
Just the second against the Tar Heels today.
You're looking at 3rd and 10, and
Holding. Number 37. Defense.
this is going to be Fantroy at the top, number 37.
And he didn't need to do that because he's got safety help over the top. He was just trying to jam, but he held on just a little bit too long. And when they get past you and you grab them, they definitely call that.
You go from 3rd and 10 at the 20 to now 1st and 10. And this is really the matchup I couldn't wait to watch. Look at that strength on strength. Clemson's offense this season, 88% of the time in the red zone has scored touchdowns. Carolina's defense has been brilliant.
Harper, the first down carry, takes it inside the 10.
They heard you talking, though, and I think they're going to test the manhood right now.
Well, that's okay, and I like the 230-pound battering, but isn't this your strength? When I look at Clemson, I see a rush offense that's averaging over 200 yards a game, and a Carolina defense that's given up 176, 85th in America. Without Robert Quinn, without Sturdivant, without some of their horses, you've got to find a way, in my opinion, on the road to run the football.
Only 51 rushing yards today for the Tigers. Came in averaging over 200. Harper on the delay. Cutback. Touchdown, Tigers. To the ground game. Clemson finally into the end zone.
You know, he doesn't have the explosiveness of Andre Ellington, but that was a great run in terms of patience and vision. You see a late developing draw play, bounces to the outside, and then gets north and south, makes a nice move at the end, not even touched into the end zone. Really exceptional play.
Taking advantage of the enormous punt return that gave them great field position and the penalty as well.
PAT good from Chandler Catanzaro. Just the second rushing touchdown of the year for Jamie Harper. Tigers finally into the end zone.
ESPN's college football on ABC. Brought to you by Cheez-It. Because at Cheez-It, real cheese matters. YP.com. Click less, live more. And the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot.
The Davy Poplar marks a spot where Revolutionary War General William R. Davy, no relation to Bob, selected the site for the University of North Carolina. Here we are in Chapel Hill. 14-10 lead for the Tar Heels. First points of the second half come from the Clemson Tigers.
You know, I said this is like an NFL game earlier. You don't see this in the NFL, right? You don't see that swath of color. And look at all the Clemson faithful finally having something to cheer about as their offense puts together a drive.
The Northwest purple and burnt orange of Clemson Tigers against the North Carolina blue. Searcy on the return here for the Tar Heels. Searcy with a stiff arm dancing to near the 50-yard line. Touchdown for the Clemson Tigers last time they had the football. Do the Tar Heels have a response? A 45-yard return from Denoris Searcy on the kickoff from Clemson. Some special footwork here from Denoris Searcy as he tiptoes down the sideline. Perhaps some special footwork because he has some special footwear, pink shoelaces, wearing them for breast cancer awareness. His grandmother passed away from cancer, so that was his idea. He wanted, like a lot of the NFL teams had last week, to wear the pink shoelaces. His return has set up North Carolina from the 46. White, toss back, flea flicker to Yates. Throwing incomplete, intended for Jones. Here comes a flag on Gilchrist.
I don't know that that ball was catchable, so I'm not sure what this penalty. If it's holding again, defensive one's a 10-yard penalty. But again, I'm not sure the ball was catchable. He had to double clutch that because the receivers actually ran into it. They got bumped by the DBs early in the route. It was a deep crossing route. Get the call from the official here.
There's no foul on the play for incomplete pass. UPI. It's an incomplete pass.
And this just the second drive all day. You see some of the relief from Sweeney. Just the second drive that Carolina has started outside of their own 30-yard line. And guess who? Not that we've called Daquan Bauer's name enough today. Again, right in the backfield, doing it from both end spots this afternoon.
So that's just a loud incompletion. White on second down, drilled as soon as he touches it. Miguel Chavis, the senior from down the road in Fayetteville, North Carolina, for a loss of 5.
You know, one of the things with Daquan Bauer, they're going to move him around, as you talked about. He'll line up on a lost side so that they don't want to be able to clue in the protection as to where he is.
And right now, Clemson's front four is establishing themselves. Beneficial to rotate 8 guys through as they have today. And you see the fresh legs of Chavis, the senior, blast through the interior of that line.
Forcing 3rd and 15. Yates, deep route, incomplete, intended for Highsmith. Gilchrist there with excellent coverage.
Marcus Gilchrist understands leverage, understands routes, and again, he's right there. What a great play, great heads-up play to not interfere but knock the ball away.
I really like Gilchrist. He is pound for pound, as Clemson measures all of their athletes, pound for pound, the strongest player. And as you said, so often those young cornerbacks will wrap that left arm around a receiver. There you see the body control of Gilchrist to get his hand up and not affect with his body in any way the receiver.
Flag before the punt.
False start. Offense. It's a 5-yard penalty. Still forfeit.
0 penalties in the first half for North Carolina, now 3 in the second half.
You know what I'm loving? I'm loving the emotion of our quarterback here in the booth about defense and running the football. That's not what you'd anticipate, but I'm loving it. He's getting passionate up here.
Run the football, stop the run. That's what Brock Hewitt always says.
And let me throw it.
Beagle short punt this time. Gilchrist fair catch at the 35. Monday Night Football, it's Randy Moss's re-debut with the Minnesota Vikings against Mark Sanchez and the New York Jets. Vikings-Jets, ESPN's Monday Night Football, 8:30 Eastern. Coverage begins 7 Eastern with Monday Night Countdown served by Applebee's.
Right now, North Carolina losing the tail of the tape in terms of punt net yardage. And again, they made a change at punter this week because of that. So far tonight, it's been difficult.
Eagles 29 yards on that punt. Butch Davis said we don't so much need a big booming kick. We just need some hang time to get a fair catch to cut down on the returns, and that's what they've gotten. But it hurts the field position wise. Tigers get it at the 35. Ellington a tailback. Ellington sneaks through for a tough gain of about 9 for the guy who came into today leading the ACC in rushing at 95 yards a game. The last 2 he had gone over 100 yards. Today, just 61 combined between Ellington and Harper.
Big fellas up front. That's why quarterbacks still like to run the ball as well, because you keep and you please those guys up front. They love to buckle it up and let me run right at people.
Ellington again. First down, Clemson.
And especially when Harrison's a redshirt senior at 325. McClain 330. Landon Walker, the right tackle, the redshirt junior at 310. This is a group that's been very capable this season. And you can't establish a run game unless you give it a chance. And all these screens and reverses and wrinkles and formations, that's wonderful. But at times you want to establish yourself physically. And on both sides of the ball here in the second half, Clemson is doing so.
Ellington again. Sweet. Away from the defense, Ellington breaks free for the first time today for a pickup in double digits inside the 40. That's a 19-yard gain for the sophomore from Monk's Corner, South Carolina.
And again, the speed he has to get the edge. 2 saving tackles on this play. Again, you see him get outside. Nice pull by the left tackle. Wraps it, seals that whole thing, gets a piece of 2 guys. And again, off to the races other than just a saving tackle by Denoris Searcy.
Back to Jamie Harper after the 19-yard pickup. Minimal gain for Harper as Deontay Williams from the free safety position up to make the stop.
And the Clemson coaches, I guarantee you're up in here in the booth. That's okay. If you're going to come down with your safeties and have to stop it with more than 7, then you know what it does? It opens up everything else for Clemson offensively.
Harper again on 2nd and 9. Tries the cutback. Nothing doing. Kevin Reddick steps up in the hole.
I was a little surprised yesterday to hear defense coordinator Everett Withers talk about Reddick as their unofficial leader. So much conversation about the other stars in the group, and especially a linebacker with Bruce Carter, Quan Sturdivant, and even his backup today, Zach Brown. But pretty high praise from his defensive coordinator that sophomore middle linebacker, the unofficial leader defensively.
Parker over the middle. Caught. Hopkins hangs on. How about a tough grab from the true freshman over the middle? He takes the pop from Williams and hangs on for a Tiger first down.
Great job initially just on the pass protection to give the quarterback a chance to step up in the pocket and deliver the ball. And then a jarring hit to hang on the football. That's what they love about that freshman.
That ball is not completed if Parker does not anticipate that throw. He didn't wait till the receiver got open. He threw him open even with the collision.
Previous play is on the further review.
What that does for a quarterback as well, when you trust the situation, you throw it to that spot, hoping your true freshman receiver will run through that and even run through the contact. And as he control the ball, you see it bounce out.
Yeah, he's got to control the ball through contact with the ground. Tremendous hit, bone jarring. And again, the ball is out right there, but I think his hands stay underneath it. I think it's a catch.
I think his hands and his legs.
Yeah. Great focus, great toughness to hang on to the football. It's one of those, some people have that naturally, others have to learn. I don't think that's something you learn. You're just gifted with that.
He may not have known where the football was, but we could see that he hung on to it.
After further review, the ruling on the field stays.
That may have set a new record for quickest review.
And that's a real confidence builder. In a tandem, and Hopkins making his first start of the season, as we talked about earlier, Xavier Dye, Brandon Clear, some of the veteran guys that have been around Clemson for a while are taking a back seat because the staff just felt like there was more upside and more potential with Hopkins. He delivered on the big punt return earlier, and that time a 3rd down conversion. Standing strong amongst the big collision from Deontay Williams.
He had 6 catches on the year coming in. He has 6 today. Parker, long drop on first down, setting up the screen. It's Ellington, and it's wrapped up. Kareem Martin as we check in with Robert Flores.
Well, Carter, Alabama had closed to within 21-14, but South Carolina comes right back. 15 plays, 82 yards. Marcus Lattimore, another touchdown. Gamecocks up 2 touchdowns going into the 4th quarter. Number 3, Oregon, leading Washington State by just 1 at the end of 1, 15-14.
It's very early in that game. Tell you what, the old ball coach must be dialing them up today, though, for South Carolina.
15 plays, 80-yard drive right at the teeth of Alabama. Remember, 3 very difficult games.
Ellington, 2nd down carry, dropped by Tyreek Powell, shedding a block from that right tackle position.
Ty Drake Powell, the third leading tackler on this defense. Quentin Copel's number 90, our impact player from earlier, the second leading tackler. You look around the country at defensive units, I would imagine you don't see any other defense in America whose second and third leading tacklers are their two defensive tackles.
4-point game going to the fourth. The Tar Heels are dug in. The Tigers on the attack. Kenan Stadium is ready for the fourth quarter. Kyle Parker to the end zone. Incomplete, intended for an open Bryce McNeil.
That's a touchdown. That is one that Kyle Parker's going to look at the film, and he had single safety. They motion out to get a single safety to run that seam route, and you're going to see Bryce McNeil. Watch as they motion to get to a single safety, and they get exactly what they want. Parker hesitated just a bit, and he has a chance with just the one safety in the middle of the field to hit that touchdown pass.
Chandler Catanzaro, the redshirt freshman, from 42. No good. Carolina lead. Carolina football after the miss from Catanzaro. North Carolina has outscored its opponents 31-7 in the fourth quarter this year. Kyle Parker missing an open man in the end zone for Clemson, and then a missed 42-yarder to make sure that it's 0 points on the board to start the fourth for the Clemson Tigers today. North Carolina and Clemson both 2-2 on the year, 0-1 in the ACC, trying to avoid 0-2 starts, which is exactly what these teams did last year. Clemson rallied to win the division, go to the ACC championship game. T.J. Yates throwing on first down, complete to the H-back Ryan Taylor. Our Pacific Life game summary shows a lack of offense in the second half for North Carolina.
And last week, Clemson against Miami really dialed it in the second half as well. They gave up just 93 yards in the entire second half. It may happen, Coach, when you play a lot of people, you get stronger as the game goes on.
And I'll tell you, both of these defenses are really, really impressive. You look at 156 yards total offense, 219 total offense. I mean, I know there's a quarter left to go, but really great defense.
Second half total offense right now is 81-16. Clemson over North Carolina. Incomplete pass intended for Highsmith on second down, and already 3rd and 9 for the Heels.
I think both units defensively, not only aggressive, but how many missed tackles? Not many missed tackles between these two defensive groups tonight.
And you made the comment, what a great break on the ball to the collision point with the receiver. Unbelievable.
A very veteran secondary for Clemson, and you're seeing that today. They are active, they don't hesitate, and they are jumping these routes.
Third and 9. Pressure coming. Yates releases downfield. Intercepted. Marcus Gilchrist makes the grab. There is a flag down as Gilchrist returns it to near the 20.
I think that's going to come back for pass interference or holding. And again, ill-advised pass bailed out by the penalty.
And now Gilchrist is slow getting up. Gilchrist, who had 0 interceptions in his career until last week versus Miami, had his first, but as you suspected, this one's coming back.
Yeah, bailed out, too. I'll tell you what, you can't throw the ball late down the field, in the middle of the field.
15 yards, automatic, first down.
Hawkins puts the hit on Yates.
And you see the front four just squeezing that pocket as this game's come along, and a blitzing linebacker, Hawkins, comes in for the rib shot, and down the field. Boy, I think bails out is right, Coach.
Yeah, he probably shouldn't have thrown the ball. He got hit and didn't get a chance to follow through, but luckily, penalty down the field has them retain possession of the football.
Gilchrist still on the Clemson sideline, so it's Cody Sensabaugh in at cornerback, along with Byron Maxwell. 15-yard penalty on pass interference gives the Tar Heels new life from the 40. Drone in at tailback. Sean Drone, minimal gain as we check in again with Robert.
All right, Carter, time for an AT&T All-America Player of the Week update. How about Texas Tech quarterback Taylor Potts? 462 yards, 4 touchdowns. Tech beat Baylor 45-38. Text vote to 345-345 to take part and for a chance at a trip to the national championship.
I'm not sure if the video game settings were on easy for those kind of numbers.
I was going to say great defense, but I'm not sure that applies.
2nd and 7 here for the Tar Heels. No flag. Yates incomplete. Downfield intended for Bird. He let it hang out there. Say no flag because Clemson looked to be offsides.
You've made this point very early in the first quarter, Mike, and that is eventually some of these body shots can lead to a quarterback making decisions and fundamentally breaking down later in the game, and we're starting to see that here in the second half with Yates.
Well, you get hit in the ribs, those intercostal muscles tighten up, and it's harder to follow through. It's harder to get that arm up, and he took a heck of a shot last play. Play before last.
Yates started 7 for 8 in the game. Since then, 6 for 20. Now 3rd and 7. Pressured. Yates has nowhere to put it. Tries drone. It's incomplete, and here's another flag in the defensive backfield. Already 2 pass interference calls today against Clemson. This will be defensive holding.
And again, I'm going to say this. Unfortunately, Clemson is doing some of the things they did last week in terms of self-destructing, making penalties at ill-advised times.
36, defense. 10-yard penalty. The result of the penalty is the first down.
And I think you see, to your point, Dabo Swinney reacting exactly, and that's Byron Maxwell. That's the redshirt senior being aggressive down the field. Dabo said, listen, I think this is a really good team. His Tigers disguised in a 2-2 record. And you get to 2-2, and because of ill-advised penalties, 2 third downs now, Carolina bailed out.
Drone, the first down carry, only a couple of yards there. It's Brandon May, the weak side linebacker. 6 penalties by Clemson today, 3 of them resulting in North Carolina first downs, including 2 on this drive.
They've been their own worst enemy, but Brock, you made the point earlier in the broadcast. This is one of the best tackling teams I've seen. You talk about they're not missing tackles, and they're making one-on-one open field tackles, which is the most difficult thing to do.
Both Kirk Herbstreit and Butch Davis making the point this week in the media about how talented this Clemson defense is. How can the Tiger defense be disciplined as well and make a stop? Yates completes. Pianalto with his first catch of the day. The North Carolina tight end, who's the leading receiver. He was averaging nearly 7 receptions a game, makes his first today.
I still don't like to see a receiver standing still, waiting for the ball as a DB is breaking. I've got to see some comeback to the ball to maintain separation from the DB.
For the 3rd time on this drive, 3rd down. The previous 2 resulted in Clemson penalties.
Carolina brings their 2 tight end package on the field.
Drone tries the outside, wrestled down near the first down. Big spot coming. Christian makes the stop.
You know, you kick a field goal here, you're up by a touchdown. But if you get this and go in for a score, you make it a significantly more than one possession game. And again, I think based on what he's done so far today, they may talk about it. I think they may end up going for it.
And that illustrates the one-on-one tackling. I don't know, at 56 yards, that's going to be out of Barth's career-long range by a long ways. He went for it, did Butch Davis earlier. He rolled the dice inside the 10-yard line, effective to get the first down. With as awful as, unfortunately, as the punting has been.
What did the duct tape say this time?
I wasn't going to hazard a guess on that one. But that's fourth and an inch.
And again, as much of a struggle, and you're playing young people, and you made a punting change this week, what are you going to gain punching the ball? Are you confident with that group right now? I think Butch Davis clearly says no, and he's going to run a fourth down that is critical here for Clemson defensively.
Already 2 fourth-down conversions today, both resulted in touchdowns. Yates sneaking behind his center, Cam Holland, for a North Carolina first down.
And again, I'm not sure that's guts or the smartest thing to do. In that situation, you get a chance now to move in and put this thing more than a one-possession game with only 11 minutes to go.
But I like that call. There's no wasted movement whatsoever. You're not running laterally. You've seen Clemson in that front seven physically hit you. In fourth and inches, I like a fifth-year senior, ball in his hands, moving the pile.
I agree. Don't take the ball off the line of scrimmage.
Carolina 3 for 3 on fourth downs today. Johnny White met in the backfield as Clemson loads the box on first down.
Was that Bowers again flying in from nowhere, flying in from the end? I think it was. I think Jenkins and company cleaned up. But you just can't say it enough about number 93. Watch him here. Watch the explosion on the edge. Pianaldo has no chance at tight end. You've got the cutoff block. You got to get your head in front of the pads. Well, you've got a missile at 280 coming downhill. I know he's not as tall. Pepper's about 6'7", but I'm telling you, as this game's evolved in front of me, he's flashing more and more of Julius Peppers-esque talent.
Play fake on second down. Yates looking for Boyd down the sideline. Incomplete. Gilchrist in the coverage, and here comes a late flag.
Again, great choice by the quarterback to throw this ball to the back shoulder. The DB wasn't looking, was running down the field. The receiver makes this play by drawing the interference.
I think this may be on Carolina. He throws the hat down, Coach. Could this be on the receiver touching the ball? You see the referee's hat down on the field saying the receiver goes out of bounds. Could this actually be against Carolina?
Could be, but I thought there was contact as he went down the sidelines. If he's pushed out of bounds, he's eligible to come back in.
For an eligible receiver has gone out of his own, returning being the first to touch the ball. The result of the play is an incomplete pass. We're going to place the ball back at the previous spot.
Good point. Yeah, there was no contact. Again, he stepped out on his own. You're not eligible to catch the ball or touch it first.
That's the Don Beebe rule.
I don't know that there's no contact, though. I think, again, if there's contact, that's all right. They've already looked at it.
So
the
now
fans aren't going to like it very much, I'll tell you.
Now 3rd and 12. Instead of a mistake in the Clemson secondary, that's just a solid play. Yates on 3rd and 12, checks down Johnny White, wrapped up at the 35. That's 8 yards shy of the first down. Brandon May.
I'll tell you that the faithful here don't like that. The check down, why? As a quarterback, I'll tell you why that happens. When you're at 3rd and 12 and you felt the heat and the pressure as you have through this entire game, and you look in that secondary, and Clemson has been afforded the opportunity to play 2 safeties, Mike, and to have those 2 safeties deep takes away so much of your pass game.
Yates stays on the field.
This is a little different 4th down situation. Now it's not 4th and 2 inches.
Yates will throw on 4th and 9. Did they draw Clemson offside? Yates takes a sack.
They're going to get another chance. I think the defensive end was offsides. Jump the snap count.
That would be Daquan Bowers who ends up making the sack, but did he jump? And yes, he did. Offsides on the defense.
Now you're looking at about a 47-yarder.
Offside, defense, number 93. That's a 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
You're looking at about a 47-yarder, and Barth has made 34 of 44 over the last 2 years, but a career long of just 42 yards. You see just the early jump there from Bowers.
If you go for it on 4th and 8, let's go for it on 4th and 4. What the heck? It's half the distance.
Carolina for the 4th time today going for it on 4th down.
Or if we can get him to jump, we wouldn't have to snap it. How's that?
Now you better block this guy, and you can see the extra back there.
Pressure coming. Yates releases, completes. Another 4th down conversion. It's Johnny White inside the Clemson 20.
You like this guy.
Johnny White, my MVP of the game. We talked about that, but TJ, so cool and comfortable in the pocket. Little angle route inside, but again, you can see that. And there's pressure coming. Now watch this. There's guy right in his face, but he puts the ball right where he can catch it. Tough catch, hangs on to it. Key 1st down.
I think that's a much better catch than throw in that situation. With McDaniel breathing down his neck, White delivers.
White had 140 rushing last week. He has 78 in the pass game this week. Give it to him on the ground. Flag down, White for a 9-yard gain. This one could be coming back. And one of the only reasons Johnny White is even touching the football, Ryan Houston still...
Number 76, offense. That's a 10-yard penalty. Replay today.
Well, White, who barely saw the field, bouncing between running back to wide receiver to cornerback, now taking advantage of his playing time.
And this is the big fella. This is the true sophomore, Travis Bonds. The John Shoup felt like this was a matchup made for him. Big fellas on big fellas. He just must get his hands a little bit outside the frame on Jenkins there to draw the flag.
Maybe.
Tough call.
Play fake. Yates completes, but a minimal gain. Highsmith, maybe 2 yards. Christian and Meeks combine on the stop.
You know, Johnny White, they talked about in our meetings that he was a pleasant and much-needed surprise this year. And again, coming through after having played a year at tailback, then moving to DB corner, then moving to wide receiver, and finally back to tailback this year. I don't know about you, but I think he's found a home.
Look at that clock with the 3rd down conversions and the penalties and going for it on 4th down. This 4th quarter is already more than halfway through.
Twice this drive extended by Clemson penalties. White again on 2nd down. Right through the Clemson defense and into the end zone. Touchdown, Johnny White.
And let's check one more time. There's no flags on the field, are there? Just want to be sure.
Pianalto does just enough there. You see the veteran tight end and Chip Andre Branch. The patience and the explosion of Johnny White to ignite the fans here.
Not so much a drive as it was an odyssey. 14 plays extended by Clemson penalties. A 4th down conversion. And Johnny White into the end zone, extending the Carolina lead.
ESPN's college football on ABC. Brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings. You have to be here. Chevrolet. And Dr. Pepper. There's nothing like a pepper.
Among the iconic buildings on the University of North Carolina campus, the South Building, the Playmakers Theater, and that's the Moorhead Planetarium. Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Loving what they've seen from Johnny White. And what a tremendous drive by this North Carolina offense, and some consequential mistakes by the Clemson defense.
Butch Davis has somewhat extended the 4-down territory, as I understand it. Let me say that.
2 4th down conversions, 2 penalties via 2 first downs via penalty. Very unorthodox 8-minute drive in the 4th quarter.
Gilchrist from near the goal line. The toss. This is Harper. Carolina ready for it. Dropping Jamie Harper. All Carolina blue in the fourth.
Well, the 14-play drive, the 4th and inches from T.J. Yates, and then it was the Johnny White show. A tremendous catch on 4th down on his back shoulder, and the patience, the power, the perseverance of the senior to deliver the dagger here in the 4th quarter. And Bowers, you see there on the sidelines, his offsides on 4th down kept the play and the drive alive.
Clemson football, first down. There's a drop. And Johnny White making all the plays on offense, the former cornerback. I mean, it's a block bomb-esque performance by Johnny White with the job that he did on defense when called upon for Carolina, and now getting it done back at that running back position.
And for the masses who have no idea what you just said, that's Gordy Lockbaum, the former Holy Cross player that went and played fullback and linebacker. Yeah, Johnny White's done it all throughout his career and tenure here at North Carolina, getting a chance to shine at running back and taking advantage of his opportunities.
Complete over the middle. Hopkins makes the grab, tiptoeing near the 20, but it's going to be 3rd and 4. Zach Brown, did he keep it going? Yes, he did. I was ready to mark Hopkins down at the 20, but DeAndre proves me wrong.
And I tell you what, it's dangerous, though, at that time of the game to keep fighting because, again, you give guys more chance to get the ball and rip it out. But, again, stops the clock. The clock is now a factor in this game. 6:24 left. You got to score twice.
What a play by DeAndre Hopkins. From the 25. Parker wants Hopkins again. This one bobbled and incomplete as we send it to Robert Flores.
Carter, this morning on Game Day on ESPN, the guys talked about the advantage that Alshon Jeffrey might have against this Alabama secondary. That has been the case today. 7 catches, 127 yards. This big gainer led to a Marcus Lattimore touchdown. South Carolina up 14, Oregon up 22-17 on Washington State.
Cougs hanging tough there in Pullman, and I love the sound of Alshon Jeffrey this morning as well on Game Day saying it is going to feel sweet to beat the #1 team. He's backing up that talk.
How about that hitting from the Tar Heels? Boston lays the wood on the play before. This time it's Denoris Sarcy. Is this Carolina team playing with an attitude?
Well, I'll tell you what, we talked about how to stop a screen before it gets started. Don't let him get to the blockers. Go up and take him out quickly.
And I don't care that I got pink shoelaces. I will deliver the blow.
3rd and 9. Caught. Room to run. Jerron Brown breaks free. Touchdown, Clemson. The much-needed huge play in the passing game, 74 yards. Kyle Parker to Jerron Brown.
And what a play by Kyle Parker. I told you all game, maybe not taking some of the risks. That is a veteran safety making his 39 starts, playing just over the top. Your responsibility in cloud coverage there, cover 2 to that short side, is to not give up anything deep. And a horrible angle by Williams allows the big play behind him.
And a gamble that did not pay off. Again, that ball should have been knocked down and thrown. You're right, and it's unfortunate for a guy with his experience to make that type of play.
And that may be a sign of a guy. Remember, Deontay Williams suspended the first 4 games. Clemson here going for 2.
Harper's the tailback. Parker didn't get it off. Zeros on the play clock.
11. Nothing. Sometimes you're penalty. We still have a try.
In some ways, it gives you more room to run routes down there. It causes more problems for the defense. And again, you know, this now, a couple seconds ago, this was a comfortable lead for North Carolina. Now we're talking about if they get this two-point conversion, we're talking about a field goal separation with plenty of time left in the 4th quarter.
Tigers have to hurry to the line again. Parker pressured out of the pocket all the way back to the 30-yard line. There's a flag down. Parker still scrambling. Big block. So Parker heaves it from the 20. It's incomplete. Now let's check the flag.
It's a great response from the North Carolina defense, being disciplined once he broke the pocket and making sure that you make him throw back across his body.
93.
And we've had some difficulty with the mic this afternoon.
Personal foul. Face mask. 93. Defense. Pass the distance. We'll replay the try.
That's going to be the true freshman Tim Jackson that gets his hand up into the headgear of Parker here to draw the penalty in the face mask. And as a quarterback there in a two-point situation, keep the play alive as long as you can, as Parker did. Never want to throw the ball away in a two-point conversion.
Take 3 on the two-point conversion. Parker scrambling again to the end zone. Incomplete. The heels hold, but wait. Another flag is down in the end zone.
And the referee, again, I believe, has his hat off, throwing it because the player goes out of bounds.
We may yet get another 5th down.
The foul on the field is for a receiver going out of bounds, then coming back in, the first to touch. The result is an incomplete. We're going to decline the PAT. It's no good.
The longest two-point conversion attempt of the day in college football is no good.
And that's 26, Marquand Jones in the back of the end zone. Talking about him not being forced out.
There was contact again. I'll tell you what, I'm not sure I totally agree with that, but got to go with the officials on the field.
Kyle Parker a little winded after all of the two-point conversion attempts for the Clemson Tigers. They don't get it, so we have a 5-point game. But the Tigers have the big touchdown strike, the 74-yarder from Parker to Jerron Brown to make this a tight game down the stretch. First time in 8 years these teams have gotten together at Kenan Stadium. And a football matchup that goes all the way back to 1897. Searcy near the 25 here. Let's look at our All-State good hands play. And it's that 74-yarder with Jones, or rather Brown, getting the football instead of Deontay Williams.
And there's a difference between angles in practice and the speed and the angles in games. And Deontay Williams been out the first 4 weeks. His first game back takes way too flat an angle on that cover, too. Credit Jerron Brown, even with the hand flying across, making the play.
And that Kyle Parker's got a live arm, too. I think that ball got there in a hurry. Surprised him.
Let's talk clock management here as White gets the first down carry. You would think run the football, run the clock, as White keeps the legs turning. But over 5 minutes to go. Both teams have 3 timeouts. Is it time to get into that run the football, run the clock mentality?
Absolutely. If you can get first downs. I think the other question is, when does Clemson start using its timeouts? A lot of times I would start using them under 4 minutes. I think, again, you can't save them. You can stop the clock. You can stop the ball when you can stop the clock when you have the ball. Offensively, you know how to stop the clock. You can't do it on defense without using your timeouts.
We saw a disastrous example last week where Lane Kiffin saved many of those timeouts, didn't call them within 2 minutes. I think at this point, too early to utilize timeouts.
White on 2nd and 4, cut back, first down and more. Johnny White's career day continues for the Tar Heels.
And one thing you have seen and Johnny White has found here in this fourth quarter in particular is the aggressiveness of Clemson in that push up front. Many more cutback angles here in the fourth quarter.
Last week in the victory over East Carolina, Johnny White had a career-high 140 rushing yards. Today he's got 78 rushing, 78 passing.
And again, North Carolina very comfortable to milk the clock. What you'd like is to get a stop on first down, then use your timeouts to save the time.
Now to get the abacus out to come up with 156 total for Johnny White. Give him some more. White with room to run. I think maybe there was a hold that was not called on that play.
There was a bad hold. You saw poor Clemson player got head jerked and shoulders jerked back when he was trying to move out to the sideline. Sometimes that goes unnoticed. They're not talking about it.
And a heads-up play of the senior in white to not go out of bounds and to utilize these 35 seconds. So often you'll see young guys get caught up in the moment and get out into that green grass and not understand, you know what, maybe that extra yard I can get by going out of bounds, not nearly as valuable as these 35 seconds to stay inbounds.
Is this where the Tigers think about a timeout?
Absolutely. After this first down, they keep the ball on the ground.
White again, bouncing outside. Clock still rolling.
And what a statement and what a credit. Of everything that I read about North Carolina this week and all of the challenges they've had to overcome, to open up that stats sheet and see in the fourth quarter that Butch Davis's team, his embattled team of youngsters, has won the fourth quarter this year 31-6 over their opponents. That is a statement to me, Coach.
Well, and to run the clock and run the ball when everybody knows you're going to do it is the test of a great team.
Only Georgia Tech and now Clemson have scored on North Carolina in the fourth. White again, fifth carry of this drive. This one goes for a loss, and now Dabo Swinney will take a timeout. One of the officials finally sees Dabo White calling for a timeout there. So 2 timeouts left for the Clemson Tigers in a 21-16 football game. So 2 minutes, 33 seconds to go. Now let's talk about clock management, timeout management. Dabo Swinney takes the first. He has 2 left with second down coming.
Well, there's no real mystery here. The bottom line is you got to stop the run. They're going to run the football. They're not going to give a chance. And the great thing is, Johnny White, as you said, has disdained the chance to go out of bounds to keep the clock running the football. But you got to use your timeouts now.
And this third and fourth down situation is what killed Clemson on the last drive. We can remember third down after fourth down after penalty after plays that Carolina made that Clemson couldn't get off the field. A nearly 8-minute drive to begin this fourth quarter for North Carolina. And what a big third down here coming up.
What's more important, points or getting first downs to run time off the clock?
You're ahead right now. You don't have to score any points. You just have to run the clock. You want to get first downs, and you'd love to be able to sit on the ball once they've run out of timeouts and get in your quarterback victory formation.
And this is a really big third down here because you're talking 2 more timeouts. You get this first down, Clemson will have to use their remaining 2 timeouts. But 3rd and 9, not easy. The playbook much more limited at 3rd and 9. Credit Clemson on those early downs.
On 3rd and 9, Bowers pressure. White makes the grab, turns the corner. First down, North Carolina, and he stays inbounds.
Unbelievable veteran play. Great play by a quarterback. Great awareness by White catching the football. And then, as you talked about, maybe the most impressive thing, going to full speed to the sideline, going down inbounds. Great pressure there again. Who else? Daquan Bowers.
And I can't tell you how difficult that pass is with a guy 6'5", 275 breathing down your neck. You could see by the reaction of Johnny White that Yates had to throw that pass so early to have any chance to complete it. White heads up, not only to make the grab, but as you said, to continue to run this clock.
Flag down before first.
Illegal substitution. Defense number 33. That's a 5-yard penalty. First down.
You don't see that usually called very much on the defense. That's interesting.
And that may seem right now insignificant, those 5 yards. But what a huge play as an offense and your confidence when you break that huddle that now you know you have 3 cracks and you've only got to gain 5 yards.
You can watch college football all week, all day. You won't see many more clutch plays than that one from both T.J. Yates taking the hit and Johnny White getting the first down, staying inbounds to keep the clock rolling. Johnny White again, bouncing off the first tackler. Here comes a flag as White picks up 3.
And typically in that holding zone, which you hate to see because it stops the clock, among other things.
65, offense, holding, 10 yards. We'll replay the down.
Butch Davis has something to say about it.
Those are somewhat hidden yards, and if that's Jarvis Jenkins, he's done this a number of times tonight, getting off the football, getting into the chest of Carolina. You saw a holding call earlier on Bonds. Now you see it on the center. It's actually Chavis. Boy, don't you got to let him play a little bit, Coach?
It's a pretty good block, I was going to say.
The holding call on Bonds earlier. In these moments within the pit and final 2 minutes of a game, isn't there something to be said for letting the big fellas just play?
I think the offensive line must have loved you. I can tell you what, I'd play for you.
No deep safeties right now for Clemson on first down. White picks up a couple more. Timeout Clemson. 181 yards of total offense for Johnny White today. Good ACC matchup here coming down to the wire. What can we expect tonight in another ACC matchup? Florida State versus Miami. Some on the West Coast will see USC versus Stanford. It's Saturday Night Football presented by Southwest Airlines on ABC 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Miami team off a 30-21 win over these Clemson Tigers.
And the only 2 ranked teams right now in the ACC. And we chatted in the open, guys, which of these teams and programs could afford to go to 0-2? They each have 1 loss already to Clemson and North Carolina. And now Clemson up against it.
Well, Clemson last year started 2-3, 0-2 in the ACC, rallied to win the ACC Atlantic. They lost to Georgia Tech in the ACC championship game, then beat Kentucky. But if the Tigers can't come back somehow in the last minute 11 here, they'll be sitting in the same situation. 2-3 on the year, 0-2 in the ACC.
They're certainly talented enough. They have to stop beating themselves and making mistakes that are costing them football games.
White dropped for a loss this time, but they have to bring Brandon May up to make the stop. How about the day for Johnny White? Prior to that loss, 181 yards of total offense. So it's Carolina blue, it's Northwestern purple, but it's Johnny White with the biggest impact today.
You know, and sometimes in your career, you know, you get moved around. This guy's been a corner, he's been a wide receiver, he's been a running back. And at times, you know this, my guys will pout when they get in the program. I didn't get to be the star. Things didn't always go easiest for me. Well, I'm here to say that because of the adversity he's been through in his career and having to play receiver, I think it's helped him because it's built his versatility.
No question. The coaches love him because he's one of the best receivers might be one of the best receivers on the team. And he's played defense. He's tough. You know that and he's played corner where you're on an island and you got to have a fast feet and a short memory. So he's got that, and he's using it today as a tailback. 1, to get yards, but then to stay down inbounds.
And with 1:07 left, you're going to run the play. Then you're going to have that 35 seconds. So call it roughly 40 to 45 seconds. Probably going to leave about 20 to 25 before you punt it.
So that's why White is running it again on 3rd down. Minimal gain, but Clemson without a timeout now. Clock just winding away, awaiting that 4th down. And do you worry here about that delay of game, or do you just say let it run out?
No, I think you got to utilize your timeout. You take this all the way down to 1, and Butch Davis will be next to that referee and take that timeout.
You do, because you don't want to even give 5 yards. In this situation, they're going to get some more plays. You want to make sure it's as far away from the goal line as possible.
Now, I know, and I can imagine the Clemson fans are sitting at home and saying, man alive, these penalties and the 2 pass interference and the defensive holding cost us. But I'm here to say that Johnny White on 4th down with his little angle route, okay, his wheel route, the 3rd down conversion there on the play action pass in the flat, those were the plays of the game that turned the tide. In an NFL game, as I've said, this one has felt like tonight, it's 2 or 3 plays. that make the difference, and Carolina and Johnny White in particular made those plays.
So much of the talk, understandably, around the University of North Carolina football program has been about the investigations, the sanctions, the 14 players who have been eligible this year or suspended this year. But Butch Davis's program, if they can emerge from this dark period, there is a building process that's going on right now. And we reemphasize there have been no final judgments in any of the investigations about North Carolina football. In the meantime, players are doing exactly what you want as a head coach. They're stepping up. Johnny White may not even be on the field were it not for some of the ineligibilities and suspensions. And now this North Carolina football team's on the verge of a 3-2 record through all of that.
And the punting game, which has not been kind to UNC tonight, is very, very crucial. Notice they have no returner back. This is an 11-man block coming after it, so the punter's got to get it off. You get a returner out late.
Eagles just does get the punt off. Courtney Brown nearly got it off the side of his foot. It'll be out of bounds right around the 20-yard line. 13 seconds left. Clemson needs a touchdown. The Tigers do not have a timeout.
That ball didn't go exactly where they wanted it, but he did not want to risk a return, so he's going to kick it out of bounds, hopefully inside the 10, around the 10. But again, anything there inside the 20 is better than a touchback.
To your point earlier, Carter, I really believe that if you can come through that adversity, as this program has, you are going to be so much stronger for it. All of this youth that's growing up, all of this inexperience, I definitely think this experience long-term will benefit this program.
2 plays, guys, 2 plays left in this game.
Parker has time. Heaves it long over the middle. Incomplete, intended for Brown. Now it's down to 1 play.
Great coverage. They were hoping that the UNC defense was overload to the 3-man side and he sneaked the one guy back across the field. Great discipline that time by the North Carolina secondary.
As we watch this from the box, that's exactly the word that I would use. That Everett Withers defensively with backup cornerbacks and new guys and 2 new starters at linebacker, the discipline with which he's had that group on the back 7, other than the 1 play that Deontay Williams gave up, they have been very sound.
Incomplete. 2 seconds on the clock. We'll get a 3rd play.
This has got to be some type of razzle-dazzle, hitch and pitch, trailer, double pass. You're not going to see a throw down the field. You're going to see one of those things that you practice for fun on the schoolyard.
And Dabo Swinney 2 seconds away, guys, from going 4 and 6 on the road. In his career here in just a couple years. Been very good at Death Valley, but unable to get his program to find a way right now to win these games on the road.
3-man rush by North Carolina. Just want to make sure the ball stays in bounds.
Carolina wins. The Tar Heels go to 3-2 on the season. A 21-16 victory over the Clemson Tigers.
I agree with Dabo Swinney. He said coming into this game, this is a really good team disguised in the 2-2 record. I still think, talent-wise, this is a very good team. Unfortunately, now they're 2-3, and we're unable to make the big differential plays tonight.
Through it all, Butch Davis's North Carolina Tar Heels fight through to get a 21-16 win over the Clemson Tigers. Join us tonight, 8 Eastern on ABC as college football continues. The Florida State Seminoles, the Miami Hurricanes. For Mike Bellotti, Brock Heward, and our entire crew, I'm Carter Blackburn. North Carolina over Clemson, 21-16 in Chapel Hill.